I've been debating about making this video for a very long time, and I've been discussing with my friends if it would even be worth the time and stress of me putting this out. Approximately 5 months of weighing the pros and cons on this decision. But here we are today, and quite frankly, I'm not happy. I'm really not. I've been trying to settle this and leave this all behind for nearly 6 months. 6 months of stress, 6 months of harassment every 2 weeks, 6 months of video after video, 6 months of mind-numbing headaches, and 6 months of just bullshit. Today is the day that after 6 months, I've given in and I decided to speak about this publicly. Now, I don't necessarily have a platform nor a stable YouTube channel, since this is the only video as of release of this video, and I'm hoping that a follow-up with this will not be needed. But my goal here is for the people who end up wanting to know what's been going on with me the past 6 months with me, they can just watch it. And to also finally have this person who won't leave me alone to just hopefully leave me alone. This person has done nothing but drag my name through the mud after I've tried settling things so many times, but I guess it didn't lead to anywhere, forcing my hands to be tied to make this. Now you may be wondering who I am, who I'm referring to, and what happened. Hi there. I go by all sorts of names, but I'm mainly just known as Mango. I'm 20 years old. I like to make edits on TikTok, writing stories, filming with friends, and I'm going to school to hopefully become a psychologist. Now that you know who I am, let me introduce you to the opposition here. This is Cedartree. He's a former friend of mine that was in this online friend group that me and my friends had called the BK Dumpster that stems from just an inside joke with the name, and the list of the members are Bonnie Fan, K2 Crafty, Hudson Boy, and Evie. This is our little group that we've had so many great memories with, and we've been going strong for about 3 years now, up until about 6 months ago with Cedar. He's older than me and also has a YouTube channel that's going strong with over 1,000 subscribers, and his secondary YouTube channel, which is where all the mayhem has come from. On top of this, he's also been running a drama account called The Files Report, which is where he tries to act as some sort of like savior of the FNAF community with niche bullshit by making exposed threads that doesn't matter. Now, since you have a small introduction to us, let me show you what happened and why this video is being made. On June 17th at around 6 p.m. EST, I would check my phone and I saw a notification from his drama account that he said numerous times prior that he would leave to die. I thought I had unfollowed the account previously, and out of curiosity, I clicked it only to see this. A 30-minute long expose video of Cedar and his accomplice Zydeco, both of them dragging my name through the mud, claiming that I have been doxing, harassing, and sending death threats to him. I'm going to get straight to the point here and say that all these allegations thrown at my name are false and defamatory. I also need to say that this isn't the first video Cedar has made on me like this. In fact, this is his 5th one about me. What's different about this one, though, is that they're throwing defamatory statements at me, and quite frankly, I cannot stand people who are willing to lie and leave out the full story, especially to their own friends who don't know anything. Cedar, this type of behavior is genuinely disgusting, and I'm going to draw the curtains open and show the entire world of what kind of a despicable human being you are. I will not hold back any longer, for you have kept my mouth gagged for months. I'm sick of your antics and constant need for my attention. However, to you, my fellow viewers, before we touch on this video, we need to go over the 4 previous videos he's made on me and the rest of BK Dumpster. And even before we get to the first one, I need to give even more context here. This video will not only be me addressing the videos, but will include almost every interaction I've had with Cedar in the past 6 months. But it doesn't stop here either. In the description of this video, I will link a Google Drive that will contain every screenshot, video, voice note, comments. All of it mentioned in this video will be in there. If I need to put up a follow-up folder, but hopefully not, I will do that. I'm being fully transparent here because unlike Cedar, who fabricates his screenshots and crops them, I'm not a pussy. All cards will be shown on the table. In fact, let me introduce you something what I like to call the proof tier system. If you're interested in the status of lost media on the internet, then you might be familiar with it. For everything I'm going to be talking about, in the corner of the screen will be this dot right here. This dot will change colors as we go over things to indicate what has the strongest evidence and weakest evidence. Green being evidence with the highest accuracy, consistency, and also audibly and visually 100% to 80% undeniable. For example, a recorded call with the opposition or like full-length screenshots and conversations. The red circle will tell you that what's being provided has the least amount of strength for it to be held up. These will include things like from what people have heard of that do not have strong enough background behind it. Basically secondhand information, to put it that way, and hearsay, or anything alleged as well. The red ones, I will now say, take with a grain of salt, and these are up to your own interpretation on how you view these. It's up to you, the viewer, of how you want to take these ones. Now, for our last one, it's going to be the middle between these two, which is going to be yellow. Yellow is sort of both. Like, for example, first-hand information or even talking about a voice call without it being recorded, but basically things from memory, but have some sort of evidence behind it proving that it did happen. They just don't have the actual, like, thing of it in that moment. Now we got the basis down. Sit down and please witness what I've had to endure the past 6 months with this person. Let's dive in. On January 4th, Cedar would open up a poll asking us, the members of BK Dumpster, if we think it would be okay for him to use AI for his YouTube thumbnails. And we all vote no in the poll and tell them no, AI's bad, and the next day rolls around, which makes the poll close, and Cedar then goes, I'm still going to use it. Now, at this point in the conversation, I wasn't available, but my other friends were there talking to him, explaining him a workaround AI. They were telling him that, there's other alternatives. Cedar, though, throughout the conversation makes excuses saying that how he doesn't have time or that there's a reason it's there, and just not hearing their points. He's not hearing them out. And everyone in this conversation was being respectful to him as well, and to me, it was just a normal discussion in my eyes. And I've read the thing like over 12 times at this point. Like, so many times. They even offered him to make them for free. They offered to help make thumbnails free of charge. Showing him how easy it is to use like any accessible photo editing software. And this conversation ends at around 8:30 p.m. But fast forward 2 hours later, Cedar comes back with this to say. Before I fall asleep, I just wanted to say that despite me understanding your concerns and critics, I feel as if I got bullied off of something I was just trying to make shit work. AI or not, this shit was not that deep. I literally didn't see anyone else complaining about it, and it all works whenever you like it or not. A temporary solution is not going to blow up this planet. Fucking hell, hope you're happy. At this point, I was finally home, and I was like, what is happening? And off the rip, he's getting really aggressive with me. So then I sent him an essay that I wrote to get into college, showing him the true danger of AI and how much water it consumes, and how this is just basic sources that you can find in like less than an hour. And I also call out his hypocrisy, because why would you even ask us for your opinion if you're not going to listen to us anyway? I find it like extremely frustrating when anyone does that. And I feel like that's completely understandable. Hudson then joins the conversation, expressing how they weren't bullying him, but rather constructive criticism on how to improve thumbnails. This then spirals into an argument over Cedar's behavior, to which Cedar then starts blaming us, saying that we're the ones who didn't drop it. When he came back 2 hours later, just for the sake of telling us off. Like, what? Hudson then says, Unk is dragging it. And then this is Cedar's response. This caught us extremely off guard, and it's the start of Cedar showing his true colors of how he behaves. Bonifan and Crafty then catch wind of the situation and call out Cedar for his behavior for resorting to slurs. Now, after this point, you're seeing Cedar become just a genuine asshole for no reason. Saying stuff like it's freedom of speech, then going back up to saying that we're the ones dragging it. At this point, Cedar is not taking it seriously, and I say that if he wants to drop it, then he owes me a genuine apology for behaving this way. Only for him to go, fuck your apology. I basically then just start engaging less with this conversation after this point, but I then look back to see whatever this is. Now I'm really irritated and I just go to bed. I'm going to cut the rest of the argument here, but the full thing will be in the drive. The following day, Cedar starts talking about how he keeps losing folks because of something so small, and how he's the one who always takes accountability when he messes up. Yeah, we're going to see how bullshit that is soon. I come in, not trying to be rude about it, but I give him criticism saying that I think, last night shows the reason why. And he then brings back up AI saying that you're entitled to your own opinion and don't be butthurt if I make my choice. I then try to repeatedly tell this guy that the usage of AI was never the problem, which now is just making me mad because my point is clearly not being heard by him. He's not listening at all to what I'm saying, and then goes on to explain that his reasoning for us to call us a slur was because we called him Unk. You cannot make this up, bro. This then leads into another argument due to Cedar's arrogance after I'm still trying to explain that it was the principal and how he behaved. This then leads into a call between me, Hudson, and Cedar, and this is what we both talked about.
So walk me through how we got to the call, in your perspective, what you saw.
So, in a short summary, Cedar brings up how he's frustrated after we've kind of moved on from the whole situation, and he talks about how he's kind of pushed people away. So, Mango talks about how there's kind of a overlying theme here with how he reacted last night, and Cedar didn't really take it too well, and they kind of had a heated back and forth while I try to chime in, and I don't really get replies, but... So, at some point, Cedar mentions how if you're going to take this seriously and not waste my time, then have a VC. Second I see that, called frame 1. And so the call itself seemed very tame, right? Like, it didn't seem too unreasonable. Like, my main issue is how, when we talked, Cedar approached the situation. Where he dodged around the accountability, specifically when Mango stated how he handled the AI situation, right? It was poorly handled. He didn't really understand, but... So when we're in the call, it seems fairly normal. Like, we're talking, we're having moments. Obviously, it gets a little heated at times where Mango and Cedar try to talk over each other. And, wow, they both went and stated to kind of calm down and didn't really talk over each other much. While there was points, like when we talked about the whole apology thing, that it got a small amount heated, I felt like Cedar was a lot more understanding when on VC than when we were in a message format. And I felt like was a lot more understanding, like, not understanding. Mango was a lot more convincing over voice, like, it felt like his points were getting through a lot more when we were there. Like, it felt like we were making genuine progress. And by the time we got to the end of it, it seemed like it went really well. Like, we'd be moving on to the point that even Cedar replied to his own message in the group chat, replying to his own statement, telling him to shut up, to kind of, feels like he was playing down his old self, how he kind of disagreed with it. So when we moved on, it felt like it was going to be, the end of the situation. That's kind of how we framed the call when we were at the end of it.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
So when he was back, it just felt weird when he was back at it in the next few days.
Yeah, it was odd when he brought it up numerous times, like a week after, and we were like, "Yo, why are you still upset about this?" Like, we talked it through. We both expressed our feelings on both sides. I thought we got everything across. Why is there still an issue? I don't understand. And then for him to go and talk about it on YouTube, on the Why I Left Social Media YouTube video, is just extremely frustrating because and then he did it again in the Fallout video, is that it shows that he didn't listen to us. He didn't.
It just feels.
He didn't even listen to anything of that call that we got to him, and I thought everything was fine, and he agreed to it, and he apologized and moved on. But I can't accept any apology now if he's going to go back and keep saying the same thing. Like, it's really hard to accept that.
Especially after the call with the message he sends where we can forget all about the AI incident and he was going to go get some shepherd's pie. It felt like he also said, "Man, shut your bitch ass up" to his own statement, which, I don't know, it felt like a moving on. It felt like we were humorizing things so we could all move on with it.
After this call happened, I thought things were finally over. We settled it, apologized for how we handled it, and we moved on. Until a week later when Cedar brings it up one more time and then leaves our group chat, claiming that we just get offended at him for no reason and ignore him now, which is never the case. Look, here's all the screenshots that we didn't ever ignore him, and we kept talking to him even after the AI incident. But in this message of him bringing this up before he left, he talks about something that worried us a lot about a month ago. This is a topic that unfortunately I have to discuss in order to give context for future messages and conversations. I'm going to do my best to avoid exposing as much personal detail that was described to us and leave it vague. It's December 9th, 2025. I get off of work and I hop on a call with Bonnie Fan and an IRL friend of ours. We were just basically debating about politics, and whilst we were doing that, we both got a DM from Crafty informing us that Cedar was posting extremely concerning and cryptic videos on his Instagram. These videos were deeply personal and worrisome. Cedar was filming himself walking around through the snow, and I can't exactly remember the full details, but what he was saying worried us the most. He went on saying things that he did something terrible and how that he hopes his victims move on, find peace, and that the police are on their way to arrest him after what he did to them, and that they don't need to forgive him for the harm that he's caused to them. Now at this point, we're panicking and we hop on a call to try to figure out what's going on, and our minds are racing. Now I want you to stop and think about for 5 seconds of what he could have possibly done. Okay, did you get it? Here's what went on in our minds. We were thinking, is he okay? What did he do? What did he mean by victims? Did he unalive somebody? Why are the police after him? Did he groom somebody? These were all questions we were asking ourselves, trying to figure out what was happening. I then tried calling him numerous times with no answer, and the rest of BK Dumpster keeps trying to call him too. No answer. We then start spam calling him in the group chat for him to join. And finally, after 20 to 30 minutes of radio silence, he joins. A relief lifting off our chest that he's not dead or arrested. I then tell him to talk to us and tell us what happened, which is then silence for about 2 minutes. He then opens up to tell us that he's been harassing someone online for a while now. This then breaks the tension and immediately throws us all off guard. Although a big weight got lifted off of our chest that he didn't do any of the things that we were thinking of, because the worst thing came to our minds after that. But we were so glad he didn't do any of those things. Hudson then breaks the tension and says something along the lines of, "Dude, you're going to be okay. You're not going to get arrested for trolling on Twitter." And since that line came out of nowhere, we all just started laughing a little bit. Granted, I know it sounds extremely bad, but we weren't laughing at Cedar or at the situation. We were laughing because of how unexpected that line was, and we were doing it in a way to cheer him up. And we were doing it in an attempt to uplift him, basically. We weren't trying to downplay his situation at all. And we were telling him that it isn't that serious to go to jail, and that we reassure him that it's going to be okay. After we settled down, we stayed with him for a good while, and I asked him more about the situation. And he said that it was something involving and a bad habit he developed. I tried getting more detail as to what exactly he did, to which he described himself as an annoying mosquito in the dark, nothing ever too serious, just bugging them in a way to say that I'm here. Something along those lines. After this, we let Cedar open up more, until suddenly he said he had to go, and after we thought he was okay, and we went back to what we were doing, thinking that everything was alright for now. About an hour later, he then goes on to say that they talked, and they're not going to contact the police, and they have forgiven him. We are now going back to where we left off when Cedar leaves the group chat. Only this time, I'm going over how he went in more detail about that night. Saying that whatever he did was really worth having a police report filed on. And how he also needs a radio to not get worked up over small things. Everyone at this point was not available when Cedar texted us this, so we didn't get the chance to say anything. We then discuss that we should just leave him be, and that it's his choice to leave, and that he needs to get some help. We're not going to beg for him to come back in until he gets better after the way he treated us. We all then jump into a phone call to discuss what's been going on, and discover while on call, Cedar uploads a video titled "Why I Left Social Media" on his secondary channel. And in this video, it's Cedar explaining that he's tired of seeing politics all over his social media, but also brings up the whole AI situation. Basically saying that we should have just compromised with him, claiming that we were way too harsh on him. But also in this video, he mentions a person named Dorkyverse and something called Phasmerica. This name struck familiar to us because Cedar, a few days before he left, would mention them and show screenshots of their conversation. At that time, we didn't take much look at it and agreed with him, because to me, whatever drama you're in and beef you got, I don't really care that much to pay attention. But before this video was made, he has another video, or that he had another video, that video is now taken down, which is a 40-minute long one revolving around their whole beef, right? And now to take some accountability, we didn't watch that entire video. Because one, me and Bonnie Fan had a party to go to in about 30 minutes, and here's proof of me at this party, because for some reason, Cedar doesn't believe that we even went. And two, this is what the video looks like. This video was genuinely unwatchable, and we couldn't stand looking at it for 5 minutes before my eyes started to hurt. So instead, we decided to go around on Dorkyverse's Twitter account, where she made claims that Cedar doxed her and sent her apartment listings in her DMs. Dorky then expresses how uncomfortable she is with it, but Cedar did not take that well, had a manic meltdown on Twitter, and then Cedar ended up blocking them. The call ends, me and Bonnie Fan go to our party, and then Cedar sends me a message whilst I'm there, apologizing for his outburst and what he said and how he shouldn't let small things get to him. Now, looking back, I could have handled it way better with my wording, and I will own up and say that maybe I was being too pushy and harsh in this conversation. At this point, I started to grow really annoyed with Cedar's antics, especially everything said in the YouTube video, when it was clear to us he didn't get the point of that VC we had discussed with the AI situation. My faith and trust in him was non-existent by this point. I mean, honestly, how can you? The guy who's been running a drama account, you find all these people who don't like him. He did something that could have locked him up, and now he's backpedaled everything we've already discussed. Although my reaction at this point was over the top, I feel some sort of justified for not accepting his apology at this moment. I feel like everything he says after this is a spin narrative or not being open-minded enough to truly see our perspectives from where we come from. I then express how, because he backpedaled his stances, I'm basically going to backpedal mine too. How I had to force a half-baked apology from him and bringing up what was said in the Why I Left Social Media video. Cedar then responds to where you can start to see the turning point of this conversation going south. He starts throwing around words like saying how we're in an echo chamber and how he's justified in bringing it back up. I believe you are allowed to express how you feel about certain situations. However, it's not okay to bring it up like this. If something rubs you the wrong way about what your friends did to you, and your first response is to wait hours or days when it's over just to flip out on them out of nowhere, then you shouldn't ever be the one talking about how people need to communicate better. Which is what bothers me the most. The fact that we addressed it with him and apologized for how things happened, he just forgets it all, like it didn't even exist. Which is going to be a common pattern you will see. Cedar goes on to say that using the term incarceration was a poor choice of words. But in my mind, I wasn't believing him. Like I said, he keeps saying that he did something horrible enough to go to jail. And in my mind, I'm thinking, what did he do to possibly do that? And why is his story changing? Unless he has something terrible to hide. In my mind, that's what I was thinking. Was I being too pushy and prying into his business? Yes, absolutely I was, and I went about it in a terrible way. And I'm still very conflicted with it, though. I kind of view it as a gray area. If your friend kept telling you about how he did something to someone to almost get arrested, I think you would want to know what he did to know if you're not associating with a serial killer or not. We then quickly spiral into an argument and we get into a call. Now, it gets really foggy at this point, but from what I can recall, I tried asking more about what he did to that person and what was going through our minds. It was very heated as we were both yelling and talking over each other. I then blurted out the words in the heat of the moment saying, "We thought you were a PDF file." But let me be clear and say that we never really thought this about him. Like how I explained before, everyone's minds were racing and we discussed what he could have potentially done. I'm not outright labeling him as one either. And right after I said something along those lines, I was about to begin to apologize to Cedar for take accountability for not handling the night more properly in the way that he's expressed it to me. On top of me not watching the full Dorkyverse video. However, before I could begin to apologize in other words, I'm willing to take accountability, he leaves the call, tells me to F off, and blocks me. And then that's where this ends. The following day, I get a DM from a mutual friend of ours named AJ. He hits me up with a forwarded message from Cedar saying how he had a falling out with everyone. And AJ was asking me what happened. So naturally, I'm already immediately annoyed that Cedar's going around, and I get into a call and I explain to him everything. I tell him what's been going on, and I screen share the whole AI thing of our messages and showing it all to him. Little did I know, this little conversation with AJ will lead to the next 6 months of bullshit to begin. About 3 days after my talk with AJ, I get this notification on a secondary YouTube channel titled BK Dumpster The Fallout. This video is currently not up, but I have it saved and it will be in the drive so you can watch it yourself. I'm going to go over some clips of it to show you the things that really made my blood boil. He dropped mine and Bonnie fans' first legal names and said where I worked and lied about what happened to me at these workplaces. He keeps repeating that he says that he was criticizing the way we speak to people and how we whine and don't get our way.
One little thing that goes out of your echo chamber, you're like, whoa, man, too far. And you'll do anything to just get your own way. That's just not how life works, unfortunately. So I criticized you guys for, the way you're speaking to me, the way you speak to people. It almost seems like you guys can't really seem to agree to disagree. It's always in your way. It has to be your way. And if it's not, then we're just bad people.
He says that when I asked him numerous times to apologize, he had a right to refuse because he was having a crash out.
Of course I can't get through to you guys. You're poking a bear. Of course I'm going to get mad. And about demanding the apology 3 times, yeah, I mean, you don't just expect someone right after they have a crash out to apologize.
He keeps repeating how he's justified in expressing his words.
I'm allowed to express my feelings and let you guys know that you upset me. That's perfectly fine. I'm not trying to sit here and blame all you guys and everything like that. I'm just saying that your words were harsh and it almost felt like bullying, dude.
He completely ignored where I did apologize on later for how I reacted.
Instead of acknowledging it and being okay, I also made mistakes.
He criticizes us for not listening to both sides, which I believe is a valid reason. He brings up how he showed us screenshots about what happened. However, he also forgot to mention that he left out the voice notes that made Dorky calmly explain their side and some cropped screenshots.
I gave you guys all the screenshots that you needed during the time where I felt like I was right and where I felt I was framed.
And honestly, just because you show us screenshots doesn't mean you're automatically in the right.
On the video and, saying it's unwatchable and everything like that, you don't have to, stare at the screen and just watch it, bro. Who said you had to?
The problem with this statement in the time of events is because we literally just discovered and actually looked at their situation before we went to that party, so there was no time between when we found out about that video and everything and argued about it the following day. He crashes out over me saying how that the person he harassed forgives him and that we don't think about that though. Okay, here's the problem with that. Let's throw a hypothetical. If your friend essays someone and their victim forgives them, are you going to? That makes no sense. No, I'm not going to forgive you. We don't have to.
What I was trying to say was that if I didn't get the help that I needed, of course, I'd probably be in jail right now.
That is not a statement you say as a gotcha. That makes you sound like a danger to people if you were able to lose the access of your help.
No, the people who need to leave the internet is you, bro.
Says the guy who made 5 videos on us and has a drama account. You can't be more hypocritical than this. He claims that he made this video because we were the ones going around spreading lies about him.
You're going around to all of our mutuals saying stuff about me that isn't even true. Days after this all happened. I'm here just living my life.
When, as I explained earlier, the mutual came to me and I screen shared everything.
If I had something to hide, why did I come forward with it? Somebody who has something to hide will never tell you. Yeah, if I did something wrong like that, I wouldn't be here right now.
This statement makes zero sense because you omitted it out of guilt. You let your mental illness harm other people and then get mad at us for not being acceptable with that behavior. He then starts leaking out my whole work resume. Now, I told AJ about it, and AJ then questioned Cedar, to which this is his response. This whole video made me mad, mainly because he just repeated the same thing we tell him that it's not about. Leaking mine and Bonnie fans' names and lied about what happened to the places I've worked at. This is private information Cedar has forever leaked to the public, and it crossed a major boundary with me and made me super uncomfortable, and he still defends it to this day, revoking any apology he will make throughout this video. To be clear, any apology Cedar says he doesn't mean it at all, he'll go and then backtrack his statements to what they were they were before he apologized, making this endless stupid cycle. I then tried reaching out to him numerous times for him to take the video down and compromise something. Yet all he does is be a complete asshole about it. So I do what any normal person does and tell him to F off. Now, Cedar said in his video about how we preach about listening to both sides of the story, but we didn't do it for him. And yeah, he's completely right. And I took this to heart. So you know what I did? I reached out directly to Dorkyverse themselves. Buckle up, because you're about to see him with weird relations to controversial people and a pathological liar.
So this whole section in regards to this will be structured differently than what the rest of the video has to offer for, and it's because I'm recording this as the start of August, and everything you'll see here, like with my face, is from July 2nd. I had to deal with some things for most of the month, since there's more important things I got going on than worrying about chud behavior on Twitter. I'm going to try and make this sweet and simple, because I have about like 2 interviews that are long in this section and will take up half of this video. But even still, all of the screenshots and conversations will be in the doc, so you could still form your own opinion on this matter. To add on to this, the second person I interviewed has parts that I'm going to put in the sections after, so my video attempts to be a little bit more consistent. Although I'm not involved with these situations, it's incredibly important for the kind of behavior Cedar shows off when he isn't around us. A little bit after that Fallout video dropped, I decided to reach out to Dorkyverse and ask them all about Cedar. This interview with Dorky that's going to be coming up will basically try and sum everything up as easily as possible, so it's just not a giant eyesore to read. I'll do my best to show up the conversations to overlay it, but likewise it'll be in the drive. There's also another interview with someone who would like to stay anonymous that used to be a former member of the File Report. To elaborate more on the files and what its purpose is, it's basically just a Twitter account in the FNAF parody community exposing whoever they can with whatever info they get their hands on. I'm going to just briefly tell what these topics are right before the interview, of like what we're going to be discussing here about. The Faz Court. The Faz Court was a Discord server in the parody community that got involved in a ton of drama, and the final nail in the coffin being a situation where a Jackbox section of the server was being created and was marketed very poorly, making it seem like it was something else in the eyes of some people. Dorky's GoFundMe. Dorky would announce that they are being evicted from their parents' house and opens up a GoFundMe, and in return they ask people to help find some apartment listings to help them. However, this was poorly miscommunicated and was meant to be directed towards people close in their life, which they own up for not clearing very well. Cedar, not being that close with Dorky at the time, sent those apartment listings along with a $400 transaction to their GoFundMe. After some time, Dorky would then express to Cedar that it made them very uncomfortable, and Cedar would later on not take this well and weaponize his kindness to hold over Dorky on Twitter and made their falling out public. Sounds familiar, huh? Phasmerica. Cedar would call Dorky's AU stupid and would act pushy towards other members to join his parody of it, Phazanada. After Dorky expresses their concerns about this comment, Cedar wouldn't take it very well, which led to their falling out. The Files account. This is basically going to be covering how the Files account started and covering Cedar's erratic behavior, the Goon Squad, which is a server that Cedar claimed was a profound pedo ring, and the shutdown of the account. And now, sit back, eat some popcorn, and witness these recordings.
Hi, my name is Dorkyverse. I am a Twitter artist, Five Nights at Freddy's artist. I do multiple different things, but I mainly do animatics, and I do drawings of my favorite characters.
Got you. All right. And how did you and Cedar end up meeting?
So this is a funny story because I'll be honest, I don't really remember, but I'm pretty sure I met Cedar through because him and a few other people, they were running that account at the same time, and
What account? The Files account?
I just remember the Files joining Fastcord one day, and then pretty sure he was there from the beginning, from when that Toriator Bear account posted the Discord server link, and he would like talk every now and then, and I would see his messages and I'd respond and whatever. But he was, to my knowledge, close friends with me, and so I would always question, hey, who is this guy? Mystery, because he had this whole aura of no one knows who I am. I'm super dark, evil detective. Not evil, but he had that kind of like persona going on. And so everyone would try to guess, are you who's running the Files, and so that's kind of how I became kind of close with him, because I was messaging him, asking him who he was, as well as there were some other dramas that I got into in regards to other people, like Remangled, who blatantly lied on my name. I believe the Files / Cedar, who going forward I will be referring to as Cedar. He made a few posts about that. There was just a few dramas that we ended up being in together as well. For example, with Spring Bonnie and Glamrock Chica account, the Glamrock Chica and Spring Bonnie account, I was talking to Glamrock Chica back and forth, and like the files was having like spaces, and that's kind of really, I think, where it started in the beginning.
He got into the fast court through a link, and
Yeah, so on Twitter, sorry, I completely forgot the second half of your question. On Twitter, on Twitter, he got a link because there was this really big Freddy Fazbear parody account that was posting this link to this Discord server. I believe he joined through there or through, but if I'm not mistaken, it was through that Twitter link because he was very, active on Twitter.
and how did he? I heard that he got his position as like a mod. How did he manage to get that? Was it just through applications?
I believe he did submit mod applications, and then me and the other moderators, we talked about it, and they kept like recommending Cedar and whatnot, and I was very, very hesitant on having Cedar on the mod team because he ran the files account. And so when I was messaging people about their applications, one of the people that I messaged was Cedar, and I was like, "Hey Cedar, um, you know, if you're going to want to be, a moderator in the server, I would really appreciate it if maybe you weren't running the files account at the same time, because I didn't want mod chats getting leaked at all, right? And him being who he was, he seemed like the type of person to do that. But he told me directly that I'm not that guy. And he ended up actually going over to the Cedartree account and becoming a mod on that account and not the files account. And that's why he shut down that files account for a period of time.
What time was that?
I believe around September. Beginning of September is when he had to get rid of his files account because that's when I was becoming the new server owner of the Fastcord. And then he brought back the files account at some point. I do not remember when that was. Probably recently, but because
Okay.
he's been on it on and off. Like whenever he would like get mad, like he would like reactivate the account, or like he would like make a post on the account. Like weird vague shit.
Like what?
Just like words, just like singular words. I don't God, what's a good, but just stuff relating to the fast chord or just like horror.
So
Okay.
tell me about the fast court incident.
The fast chord incident, aka we are talking about the after hours channel
Yeah, the after
category.
hours.
So it was me and like several other people. I'm not gonna name names, but Cedar was one of them. I came up with the idea with, hey guys, we just hosted this Jackbox game, this Arctic phone game, and it got pretty wildly out of control. How do we contain this? And so we came up with the idea of making a category specifically for Arctic phone and Jackbox. And at first it was a good idea. It was going great. I had specific like people selected to be moderators of that category. And I kept asking and being like, hey, if anyone has any concerns, please say, please voice them, please share. Let's talk about this. There was a very long Discord call that Cedar was in that he claims that he was sleeping in, but I really do not remember him being asleep. There was a very long Discord call, and once concerns were actually brought up about the category and how it was looking, I took it down immediately. I tried talking to people about it, but ultimately people were not a fan, and I was like, okay, let's get rid of it. Where did I go wrong, right? And so we talked about it, kind of. There was a few very explosive moments. It caused people to come at me for fucking weeks. It caused people to be really overdramatic and be like, I can't do this anymore. I'm resigning. I'm turning in my application. And Cedar was one of those people. Um, and it was blown way out of proportion. And even people like looking on after it, have told me, yeah, that was blown up way out of proportion. Yes, do I think that the theming of the category was wrong? Absolutely. I 100% think we should have gone for a different theme, because while I don't think it looks like a strip club, it definitely looks like a club. Oh, that's the other thing I forgot to touch up on. Where the lingo came from and why everyone started calling it a strip club. That's why it got taken down, by the way. I don't think I mentioned that. Because in I believe the Jackbox game that we had done the day before that, we had made like a shirt, and it was this person's OC, and it was their OC's something strip club, and it became an inside joke. But multiple times throughout the whole thing, we prefaced, no, this is not supposed to be like a strip club category. I was constantly dealing with the situation for weeks because people were very upset by it, and I felt very fucking bad about it.
What was Cedar's
But
involvement?
so Cedar, he was at first okay with it, and then once concerns started being brought up, he pretty much started calling all of us predators. It was like, I can't believe you let me go through with this, man, and was saying stuff of that nature.
I realized that. I mean, I think I was the one who kind of came up with the name, but I didn't know it was like a Pornhub site. I just saw the commentary YouTuber I watch. He has a podcast called the After Dark, right? And I'm like, okay, that seems kind of chill. Midnight vibe, after hour, boom. That's my mindset. Look, I didn't come for this name from like a degenerate kind of mindset. So
No, we're not pedophiles. We're not predators. He was on board, and then he was off board, and then he was going to and being like, there's these things happening in an unrelated server that is Goon Squad, which made fucking blow up, and then Vile sent me those photos. I blew up at and then we eventually solved that fucking situation in regards to Goon Squad, but it's still something that I believe he thinks is linked to the Fast Cord. He thought we were doing nefarious things in the Goon Squad. I wasn't even in the Goon Squad. That was a server between 5 guys. I was not in the Goon Squad, and for whatever reason, Files kept bringing up the fact that, oh, Dorky should have known about it when I wasn't even the owner at the time, and just pulling strings, behind people's backs. And so I believe eventually it led to him losing his moderator position, and he was not happy about that at all.
Could you also just quickly also talk on how the setup?
After Cedar lost his mod position, he got into a voice call with another one of my moderators and was asking, from what I could see, he says he wasn't asking for this, but it looked like he was asking for mod chats or permissions or a permission to go see the mod chats, and it was immediately brought up by that moderator. And so I got on the horn with someone named, and then I had them go in there and try to pry Cedar for information. There are unlisted videos of that call where he talks about how he really feels.
Everyone, piece of shit. By the end of the day, it's
So you're saying like everyone is like a piece of shit?
Yeah, even you are a piece of shit, bro.
Even me?
Even Mark, but her. Oh, bro.
So they're all like pieces of shit, right? You know what? Maybe I will have to talk to them if you think so.
Well, you're foreigners to dorky, aren't you? This is awesome.
What?
You come to me in DMs about this.
Yeah, because he criticized
Says me. Lemony joins the server at the same time. Tell me, is that not suspicious?
No, dude. Because like, I don't know shit about Lemony. The last DM I had from him was like maybe early in the morning or something for his at the time, so I don't know. I don't know shit about him joining. That's the thing. I came to you because when I joined this call like a few hours ago, you immediately brought up my role, so I thought, okay, maybe you knew something, you know?
Yeah, but we set him up on purpose, and I'm not sorry about it because it seemed like he was being really suspicious, and I wanted to know why he wanted to see the mod chats after being demoted. It's kind of weird. Now, should I have just asked Cedar directly? Probably. Did I? No. I wanted to do it investigator style, like, He does.
It's okay when he does it, but when you do it, it's silently a problem.
No, literally, if I do anything, it's bad.
So I'm assuming this put a strain on between you and Cedar.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. For many months. And it made me not trust him for a while.
Tell me about the GoFundMe.
So October 8th of 2025, me and my dad, we got into an argument because I was expressing my concerns that, I was not a fan of the situation that was happening in my house. I'm not going to go into details about that situation, but how it relates to Cedar. My dad told me on October 8th I was being evicted. Right. And so I made a GoFundMe. And up to this point, I hadn't been talking to Cedar, but he had been like on and off sending me like messages with no response. I wouldn't respond to him. He would just send me a message, right? He sends me a donation of $400, 400 clams out of buttfuck nowhere.
For the GoFundMe?
Yeah. To the he donates to the GoFundMe $400 plus tax. So it was like $500, I believe he said. Donated $400 to the GoFundMe. So he messages me again, and this time I do actually respond, and I show my appreciation for his donation. I said, "Holy shit, wasn't expecting that." And we talked a bit about the situation, me being evicted. I was just mainly shocked, so I messaged him. I told him my appreciation, my thank you. October 12th. So this was shortly after the donation. He says, I added to check in because what the fuck kind of arc did I miss? I tell him what happened. He said, shit's so bad that it's causing me to come out of hibernation. That's always the thing he says. I'm coming out of hibernation. Constantly. He's being like, yeah, that's messed up. I understand disagreements. You can't just evict your kid. He's telling me how much I raised so far. He's messaging me about tariffs. Yeah, he says, dog, I don't know if the tariffs affect the donations on my end, but my tax is $100+. October 18th, he asks me, or he says, hope you secure the apartment. October 19th, what is your pricing range that you're looking for? Out of nowhere. And I hadn't sent him a message October 18th or 19th up until I responded to him. Then he starts sending me listings after that point. Okay, so then he starts sending me, I respond to one of the listings, been like, I already checked this out. October 22, any updates? Oh, and I saw your post a while ago. Hope that you're doing okay. Stay strong. October 27th, sends me another message. Tries calling me on October 28th. November 9th, hey, are you able to let Golden know that I would like to speak to him? November 10th, I respond to that message. So there's just these, splotches of blank time in between our messages, and they're super weird.
With the GoFundMe, what was exactly said on it? Because Cedar is making the claim that you asked everyone to do it. You asked everybody to send you listings.
On the actual GoFundMe website, I made a post, and I was like, hey, if you're able to send me apartment listings, send me apartment listings. That's what he's referring to. I told on the GoFundMe post, I said, hey, I'm looking for apartment listings. If you see anything, let me know. Right? Up until that point, I hadn't really gotten messages from anyone aside from friends, right? And then he took it upon himself to flood my DMs with listings that I had looked at before and things that weren't going to work because of the housing time period or whatever. So that's what he's referencing whenever he talks about me asking everyone, because I made a very public post being like, I'm looking for this. I shouldn't have. I really shouldn't have ever asked anyone to do that. Never at any point should I made any public post addressing anyone to send me anything, because I don't know anyone on here. I don't trust people online, and Cedar has only ever reinforced that. Cedar has only ever made me feel more paranoid. Should I have made that public post being like, hey, if you can, send me apartment listings? No. Did I get apartment listings from it from some close friends? Yes. However, it led to a situation that I should have never fucking put myself in the first place. And it is my fault for putting myself there in the first place, but I'm still 100% valid and feeling uncomfortable by it. That's not gonna change or go away, and he keeps trying to say that, oh, well, you asked, so why are you uncomfortable? You don't really think when you're doing things in the heat of the moment, and I believe Cedar knows that very well.
When you eventually told it out to Cedar of how you were uncomfortable, what was his reaction?
His first initial reaction, he told me he understood. He first told me that, it was okay, he would stop, he would not ever dox my location or anything about me, at all. He said, I swear on my life that I will deactivate everything, including my YouTube channel, if he were to do that. He said, you had to do what you had to do. That was a crisis, right? So he was very seemingly like understanding of the whole situation, that I was uncomfortable. I don't remember when exactly he started like weaponizing it, using like, the fact that I asked everyone to send me apartment listings, but even he in my DMs right now is acknowledging. So this whole song and dance that he puts on is very confusing.
That's wow. What day was that? When uncomfortable? Like
That was
what day?
November 11th.
November
10th?
11th or 10th,
November 10th.
whatever. So
Yeah.
now let's talk about Phasmerica and Cedar's involvement with that and his parody
Yeah.
Phazanada.
I made this thing called Phasmerica, and then someone else in the server actually had the idea for Phas Canada, but it kept being echoed throughout my server. So it was something that just kept being echoed throughout my server, and Cedar wanted to make it like an actual thing. Like he wanted to have these primaries and these elections and like all this stuff, and it's like no one was really interested. It's like people kept saying that they were interested, but I didn't see. I think there's maybe one or two debates that actually did happen about Fast Canada. Nobody really seemed interested, and the more that Cedar pressed about it, the less we wanted to do it, especially as beefs kept happening. We were very just sick of it because there would be a beef and then Cedar would come back and then start talking about Fast Canada and all
A
this
beef,
stuff, and
like beef with Cedar or with other people.
like with Cedar, there was always something just minute, or there was just lingering feelings, and people just continued to feel uncomfortable by him. It's really hard to say, but it always felt like there was something going on. That's what dissuaded people from wanting to do the Fast Canada stuff. No one was really a fan of him after he did the whole fucking Fast Court shit. No one was happy with him.
So what led to you guys like falling out?
We were all sitting in a voice call together. Cedar was at work. Cedar was like recording his workspace on his phone at work, showing us all the expired food that they had in the back. I don't know what all was about that. I'm not gonna try to make any claims about that he was like serving it, right? But I definitely thought it was a little bit disgusting.
Was it actually expired food or was it just him bullshitting?
No, it was like actual expired food. Was on the phone or whatever, was with his coworkers, and he mentioned Fast Canada again. And I don't remember exactly how the conversation went, but he went over to his coworker and was like, "Hey, have you heard of Phasmerica?" And he's like, "No, what is it?" He's like, "Oh, it's just this dumb trend." And I was sitting in the voice call when he said that, literally sitting right there. And so they, started fucking cracking jokes about it, I think, or maybe Cedar made one little, offhand joke after that. But I was very hurt by it. That's my project, and you just called it dumb to your coworker, not even to me. And then he tried being like, "Oh, well, he thought it was funny." It's like, I don't find it funny.
I find it even weird to bring up a random Discord server to somebody and then
Right,
call
as
call it
well.
a trend. Like it's not even really a trend. It's just a little project someone's working on. Like
But it is the
it's just left
tiniest
field.
AU. It is the tiniest AU on the planet. And I went to DMs to him about it. And I was like, "Hey, I don't think that was cool." And I'm pretty sure he just defended himself throughout the whole thing. He didn't make any attempts to apologize or anything like that. January 6th. 2026. So I messaged him. I said, upon discussion with other staff and past experience, we've come to the decision to give you an official warning within the server. Please do not involve us within your workplace or discussions there and insult the work we've put into the AU. It's unfair to call it a dumb trend. It's one thing to keep it on Discord and online and whatever. He said, "Okay, bro, damn, it wasn't serious, right? Alright, they didn't even care and they found it funny." But I said, even if it was a joke, I don't appreciate the thing I've put a lot of time into being shit on like that in front of your fucking coworkers. He says, "Work on keeping my jokes to myself moving forward." I said, "You don't gotta keep your jokes to yourself, but if I couldn't tell and none of the other mods could tell, then it wasn't a joke. It came off the wrong way." Let me get to the end of this conversation. He kept bringing up, grudges that he had with other people and their grudges that they had with him. And it just kept going back and forth. Eventually ended with him being like, "Please relay to both Fox and Funtime that I'm sorry if I ever made them uncomfortable with all my comments. That wasn't my intention at all. Please also say that I wish they came to me to inform me what I was saying so I wouldn't do it again." And then we got into another argument, as well, again, about other people's qualms with him. And this is something I want to address, right? I am so sick and tired of being the messenger for people involved in this situation. I am very sick and tired of it. Everyone was just expecting me to be able to go to everyone and be like, yeah, everyone feels this way. I can't talk for everyone, especially, in regards to Cedar. If people have issues with you, they should come to you, or they don't have to come to you at all. They're not obligated to do that or talk to you, and if they don't want to resolve the situations, if they decided, they don't like you as a person, it can just be that. It can literally just be that. Specifically, Cedar would come to me being like, yeah, well, who are the people that have issues with me? And I told him, I gave him a small list of people that had issues with him and whatever. And it just, it snowballed from there. He started trying to add them, to try to make amends. Give me their Discords. I'll do this shit myself. Could have at least encouraged them to talk to me when that's not my fucking job. I'm not your fucking parents. That right there tells you it's your fault. If the other side doesn't want to talk to you and you're still trying to pressure them into talking to you, you did something to make them not want to talk to you. So then he calls us fucking snowflakes. There was no pressuring to join VCU or pressure from Fazanada when he would always fucking talk about it and no one was interested at all. And he kept, fishing for responses about Fazanada. He said, "I'm sorry, I will stop saying join VC gang moving forward. Go and take that evening, bro." He said, and then he said, after me not responding to that, actually no, get the fuck out my DMs.
What led to the tweets? Is this when he started tweeting right after?
So, on January 12th, he messaged me, talking about how he was going to be visiting Phasmerica. So before that, he kept trying to get into a call with me to talk to me, and he wasn't in the server at this point. He sent me a thumbnail that he made about Phasmerica, which led me to believe that he was going to be making a video about Phasmerica, and so I got on him about it. I was like, hey, this is cool. I don't want you, this is about a video though, and so there's 3 voice messages here. He says, in terms of server conflict, I believe that is just a misunderstanding, but I don't believe that it's as big as a deal as you're all making it to be. Where I stand with everyone, I'm cool with all of them. If they have any concerns, I hope that they can come forward to me. And I disagree with what you said the other day about how it isn't your job to let me know about how others are feeling. So he disagrees with me where I say that, I'm not your mommy. He thinks I should be telling him how others feel about him, and that's not my job. I never, really went out of my way to post about Cedar unless he fucking posted something about me, because I'm not just gonna take the punches. Going back to the 12th, I said something and I was like, I'm moving on from this, I believe. He said, you literally say this when things get tough. You can't say anything at all. All right, if you wish to move on, then okay, but this isn't BS and you know it. I don't know, if I had the best interest in heart for you, then I would definitely let you know so then we can resolve these issues. So we're arguing. He brought up the GoFundMe. I tell him he brought it up. He never spoke about this to anyone, which is obviously a lie because I ended up getting a message from someone named Mango. And then he pressures me for the Discords. I can do that shit himself. He said, could have at least encouraged him to talk to me. I said, again, assuming I haven't, stop assuming shit out of me. Then he says at the end of that, actually, no, get the fuck out of my DM. So that was all on the 12th. And then he goes posting on Twitter. And he starts making comments about, oh, I paid your rent. And da 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 da. And he's starting to talk about the fast cord on the files account. Again, there's the files account brought up. He's using the files account for the thing that I knew he was going to use the files account for, right? Which was leaking shit. He starts tweeting. I start responding on Twitter. And I'm not fucking, holding back my punches. I'm responding to everything he's fucking saying. I don't remember exactly what all I said, but on January 13th, he sends me a message. He says, just want to say that I had removed you. I was very frustrated, but never blocked you. So I asked him to answer my question. I said, if you don't plan on resolving this in DMs and I have no plans on listening to you, I can make multiple videos and posts online about people who I've had conflicts with, but I haven't. Why? Because that's not how you resolve things. What is your intent behind all of this? I've had multiple conversations with you at this point. What else is there to say? And so we're fucking going through this. He says I changed my story. I tell him I didn't. Again, this is about the GoFundMe. I've always, mentioned that, yeah, I asked people for apartment listings and it was dumb. So he starts saying that I was the one starting it. Thanks to me, he has to clear his name. I said, you were the one who took to Twitter. You posted first. You literally pulled the trigger. So this is the kind of person that, I've been dealing with, that we've all been dealing with. But this ends with, he's insulting me at this point as well. He says, I can't speak for myself. I said, focus on yourself. Okay. He said, dude, I literally say anything and you will all get offended. I've literally said that we could have done better. That means I could have done better. I said, focus on yourself, not we. I can speak for myself. And then he immediately shoots back with, you can't, don't tell me what to do. You can't. Here's another thing that he said as well I want to highlight. He said, never want to accept anything that doesn't work in your favor. There's something called accountability. Maybe learn how to take it. You don't ever handle things well. That is your own wrongdoing. It ends with me saying, later files, nice chat. He says, I don't have time for this. I said, don't contact me again. He said, bet. Okay, so on the 26th, we both apologized to each other and we took down our tweets. That was the agreement, and that he wasn't going to bring me up anymore. So this enters my very depressing arc. So it was around this time, I don't know why I was feeling the way that I was. Very much did want to take my own life, but I'm okay, right? But I made, a post and multiple concerning posts. He said, I don't know if you will see this message, but I saw your recent post. March 21st, he sends a message. March 30th, he sends me another one. If it is about the situations in the past, I'm not interested in engaging. I'm sorry, but continue. Like, if the situation is 3+ weeks old, I'm not talking about it. I'm tired of revisiting old convos. Genuinely, I just want to move forward. He said, I was just curious about the recent stuff. I said, don't worry about it. I'm not close with you. We start kind of talking about this. And, he's telling me leading stuff and I'm listening to my videos, and I mentioned that I didn't need a lecture, gonna elaborate and do like a dorky explains all thing. I sent an announcement I would sent in Vasmerica. I told him I'm not interested in hearing about mistakes I've made because I'm fully aware. Me posting about how I was feeling in that very, very, very dark moment was something that I never should have done, ever. Concerning, it's worrying for, other people who might see it. He said, I would be lying if I wasn't offended by that. That's not really something that is taken lightly. I said, not trying to offend, but do you want the truth? I said, the truth is I'm tired. I want my space. I want to be left alone to figure this out. I said, I'm 21. I can't be doing that, especially with minors in my audience. He said, I don't mean to make it about myself, but I had that thing in December. Now, I could have posted about it and all, but I didn't. I appreciate you admitting your faults on that in regards to, me posting. And I said, and it started to dawn on me that he was trying to use the situation as like a gotcha, as like a, well, you should do better. You need to do better. He was trying to big brother me. He says, I get it though. When I was down, I wanted to seek some sort of being heard, and it resorted to me doing things that were out of character for me. I don't know what you're going through, and I don't need to know, but what you told me in January was something you should have been saying to yourself. Take some time away from the media and just do your thing. So I said, why is this being used as a you told me this, but you're actually no better? You should have done X, Y, and Z, but glad you're owning up to it. Like, this convo is not helping at all. I'm not sure what the point of this is. Like I've said prior, I'm fully aware of everything you've already said. We all have moments of weakness. I'm not denying that, and I've also said publicly that I'm going to be hosting an explain all sort of thing. So tune in for that. But these comments you've made, I'm not a fan of, and rub me the wrong way if I'm being honest. Like I also said earlier, I'm tired. I want my space. I want to be left alone to figure this out. Your words are appreciated, though. Thank you. Got to get back to it. He said, I'll leave you to it then. Maybe we can have a more productive conversation when you're ready. Take care. That really pissed me off. I'm not even going to lie. So I said, I'm going to be extraordinarily blunt when I say this. So I really am sorry if this hurts or comes off as mean. But like I said earlier, I want to be left alone. You are not someone who I feel like I can confide any sort of personal / mental health issues I have in. Nor do I want to have a conversation about any of this with you. If I did, I would have reached out. I would appreciate it if you would stop trying to reach out to me, especially in regards to the subject. I don't hate you. I got no bad feelings towards you, but I don't want to interact with you. So I haven't been. I want to be left alone. If you want to learn more about what's going on at some point, there will be a space or live stream explaining. Thank you for understanding. Have a good one. And then I edited the message on 4:15. I don't remember exactly what was happening, but I believe he had started posting. And after that, we haven't talked.
Let's talk about today. Also, just do kind of final thoughts here. So, what is your final thoughts about everything that's happened, especially now?
I don't know. I feel like it's been going on for a very long time, and I'm just an artist. I've dealt with many like parasocial people. It's something that I really just don't need to deal with. That's something I don't understand why it happens. I got a message to Cedar. I got a few words for you. Number one, you can't throw punches and expect someone not to punch back, right? Just because I have a big platform does not mean I'm not going to respond to your words about me. That is not how the internet works. Additionally, you have gone out of your way to avoid all of the hard-hitting questions that I've asked. I've asked, what your intent is with multiple things and, why you have me blocked. You don't have Mango blocked on Twitter. I think that's weird. You haven't taken any accountability up to this point. you're still arguing and still posting on Twitter, and I haven't made a single post about you. I haven't had to. I'm living rent free in your head. I have moved on, and it's been very entertaining watching you post, seeing, what's going on in the Cedarverse. You, Cedar, I really do think you need to get offline. I know you say that I need to listen to my own advice, but I think I actually handle the internet a lot better than you do. I think you should spend more time focusing on yourself and on, your personal relations versus arguing with people online because it's not doing anything for you. Like, what is the benefit? Really, really think about this, Cedar. What is the benefit to all of this? Who's going to remember it? Because the only person walking away with the awful memories of all of this are me, the BK dumpster, you. Like, it's only negatively impacting yourself. You got a long paper trail of this same type of behavior and you're 22 fucking years old. I hope you can get the help you really do need. It's not anything that the internet can give you, so stop looking for it online.
What would you describe Cedar after all of this?
Okay. I think he's unstable. He's very attached to a lot of the stuff that happens online. I think he's definitely manipulative as well. And I also just think he's an asshole. The donation that you were not pressured into, the one that you made willingly by choice, you gotta be messed up to hold that over somebody's head and be like, oh, I paid you rent and this is what I get. I've done as much as I can. You can't help someone who doesn't want to be helped. It is what it is.
This next interview you're going to see is from another member of the Files account that Cedar invited, and the things that they talk about is just insane of what Cedar's behavior was and just how obsessive he really was and how much he is spiraled down and drowning in drama.
After finding about everything that happened in the Fazcord and how there are other people who helped him on his drama account, I started to investigate things a little bit on my own. Recently, he started name-dropping the people that helped him with the account and thanking people he's made threads on. It comes off as incredibly weird and also disingenuous. One of the people he thanks is someone that went by John Fredbear. Dorky first then shows me a screenshot of what I'm persuaded to believe is this person in question making an extremely inappropriate sexualizing comment towards her, not only to her but to other people as well. And this is what Cedar said about this person.
Even John Fredbear. I don't agree with everything he did, but John Fredbear, before all that happened, you were there for me, man.
But then there was this guy that I remember Cedar posted a YouTube video with. A guy named Rahu Safar. Sorry if I butchered that. I did some research, and they apparently are the founder of Indie Horror Talk, which is a small little podcast channel that, talks about indie horror stuff. However, after looking a little bit more about this person, it seems that they have a very controversial history. I've come across 2 Google Docs that I will also put in the drive so you can come to your own conclusion about this. Allegedly, and we're in alleged territory right now, to sum things up from what I've gathered from the 2 talks, I've read to seem that he's to be allegedly manipulative, short fuse, harassing tons of people, and has a lot of sexual harassment claims thrown around the table. Overall, it seems like this person is severely problematic, yet for some reason, Cedar knows about all these claims about him. One of his former members even said that this guy was guilty, yet Cedar still actively talked with him. I'm starting to notice a pattern that Cedar deliberately surrounds himself around people who have a history of knowingly harassing and crashing out to others online. I'm not trying to label Cedar as anything here, but I feel as if it's something that needs to be addressed. I mean, for an entire year, this guy has been covering petty drama with niche people instead of keeping it to himself. That's got to take a mental toll on someone's mental health at least.
Okay, how is it that you and Cedar/Files met each other?
We first started talking on November 17th, 2024. I was and still am very involved with the FNAF fandom at the time, and I saw his account. He had posted one call-out thread before this, and I wanted to send an account his way named Chris from FNAF, who was known at the time for spamming people's DMs and comments with images, I should say, and I worked with him for that. He made an entire expose thread basically calling him out, saying who he was, what he was doing, other accounts that he has, and everything. And from that point forward, we were friends in a sense. We weren't really close at the time.
The files account, was this on his files account?
Yes, this is from the files report account. Yes, he kept getting back with me about how his quote unquote investigation was going. I would give him any new information that I had found, advise him on things like where he might be able to find more information. I would ask people around for this. I'm going through our DMs right now. Yeah, and that's pretty much all it was for the beginning. And then at some point, he joined a Discord server that I don't think I was moderating it at the time, called the Freddy Fazcord, which will be brought up later. And we kind of talked there too. Him, and got started to get closer as friends. And at some point, I brought up another drama that happened between two roleplay accounts. That was another thing that happened. Didn't really go anywhere. They just ended up deleting their accounts. Yeah, and so we just kind of kept talking for a while, and then eventually I get invited to become part of his team. He said that he was too stressed out from all of it. He didn't have anybody helping him really other than people DMing him with information. And so me and brought on to become kind of his, I don't want to say like employees, but we were helping him with the accounts and everything, helping him find out information. Nothing really happened after that point because he would kind of dismiss every drama that came up after that point. But it was really just kind of all three of us working on whatever we might be able to bring up. He
would very often dismiss people's concerns. If things were brought up to him, he would push it off or as not being important enough for him to cover. Stuff like that.
Can I get like specific examples of stuff he would like
dismiss?
That's the thing. I never really found out because the one like quote unquote case that I can remember us all working on was, well, there was kind of two, but he never made a thread for the second one or a post or anything for it. The first one was between two people named Dakota and Remangled, right? Mm-hmm. Dakota was, I believe, 19 at the point in time, maybe 18, and then Remangled was possibly 15 or 16, right? And so Files made a thread saying that Dakota was a groomer, and that was that at that point until I don't know exactly what happened. This was a while ago, so my memory is kind of hazy on the topic, but he talked with Dakota more, decided she wasn't a groomer, and they became friends at that point. And so that was a pretty big deal.
Hold on. What was the case of them proof of being a predator or a groomer?
There really wasn't any, honestly. Me and Lemony were both kind of in the same mindset as this really isn't like a huge deal, to be honest. Like, it's kind of weird, like a 19-year-old with a 16-year-old, but it's not really like call out thread worthy, I think he ended up deleting the post, but that was pretty much everything that happened with that. Eventually he turned on Remangled, he kept making posts about her, and we were like, dude, this is not like worth our time to keep making threads about the same person over and over again. You know how he is, where it's once he gets something in his mind, it's never going to get out of his mind, and he just kept making threads. He kept messaging us about Remangled or Dakota or anything. So that went on for a while, and then
so what was the issue? What was he trying to
just attentions. A Remangled was an attention seeker. She would often message the Fazcord saying really concerning things, to be honest, about how she was coughing up blood.
Coughing up the blood, and if it tastes like metal, yeah, and then
yes, and eventually Remangled made a post saying that Dorkyverse was trying to be creepy towards her by asking like, "Do you taste metal?" and shit like that, which wasn't true. I was the one who asked if she tastes metal, because if she tastes metal, she needs to go to a hospital. Yeah. That was why I asked her that, and she would constantly seek attention from people, and Files or Cedar kept switching back between who he was going to be friends with, about Dakota or Remangled, back and forth. I think he eventually chose, it looks like he ended up choosing Dakota because that's the only person he follows. It was like that for a while. He eventually came into some information or something about a guy named Rahul Safar, which was also one of the points that you wanted to bring up. He was the owner of the Indie Horror Talk podcast, and apparently he had gotten some complaints about Rahul being almost like a predator, saying a lot of weird, uncomfortable things, sending nudes to people when they had asked him not to, stuff like that. And so, well, actually, I think Safar reached out to him in order to kind of help dispel these allegations, and it ended up turning into instead of Files trying to help Safar, it turned into Files trying to call out Safar. And he would just be super like confrontational with the guy. The first call between the two, Files would constantly ask him like, so what do you want me to do about this? What do you want me to do? And he was just not very helpful, super confrontational, super aggressive about everything. And it was really off-putting because it's like kind of two sides of him. You know, he would be really friendly with people that he was friends with, but anybody else he would be like really just aggressive towards. And that was kind of something that a lot of people had a problem with, as far as I'm tracking. Like, he had this go on for a while like that. Just this really strange behaviors. I don't really know how to describe it, and I hope I'm making sense with my descriptions of
You are.
things. He was never consistent, I guess, is one way to put it. He was never consistently interested in doing the things that he had originally reached out to us to help him do.
With Rahu Safar, I have a question.
Yeah,
Is he
what's
guilty
up?
or not? Rahu Safar. He's guilty.
Personally, no. That's kind of weird. I don't think
'Cause
Rahul
the-
Safar is guilty.
That they are with it, at least they think with the whole predator thing, but at least with like transphobia and like just being a manipulator and a narcissist. Yeah.
I know he's not transphobic for a fact. He has a tendency of making jokes with people that really shouldn't be made with people that you haven't talked to before or aren't very familiar with, and that is a problem that I have talked to him about. What else was there? What were the things that you brought up? I don't think he's
guess
transphobic.
Narcissism and manipulation.
The manipulation I can't really speak on because I'm not super like, I don't think, maybe a little bit, but I don't think he does it intentionally. But blowing up on people, that is something that he is trying to work on. He deals with mental stuff as well as high blood pressure stuff, so it's kind of a medical thing, but he is aware of that, and he is, as far as I'm aware, trying to change that. For the narcissism thing, maybe a little bit, but again, I don't think it's something that he does intentionally.
Okay.
It's not really like I don't think he's a bad person. I just think he doesn't think enough about a lot of the things that he says sometimes, and a lot of the thing he does, where he does tend to dismiss people's very valid concerns. I think he tries to be too friendly. I think not too friendly, but I think he tries to be friends with people before it really comes naturally. And I'm not trying to put the guy down, obviously. I don't think he's a bad guy. But there are things that he needs to work on. And he is working on. I actually was just talking to him earlier today, and he has been doing better. He stepped down from his role as the head of the Indie Horror Talk podcast. He has been working on himself. And so I think that he knows what's wrong and that he is trying to fix it, I think, is something that is respectable, in my opinion. It doesn't undo the things that he has done, but it is something that he is aware of. That was really all that was kind of a dead end. Nothing else really came out of Rahul Safar.
The reason why I brought up Rahu Safar and things with Dakota is what things I've noticed is with Cedar is that with controversial people, I guess now that it's showing more with like Rahu Safar and Dakota and how there was both like predator allegations against them, it's making me feel like there's a pattern right here.
That was something that I wanted to bring up as well. This is a really big actually thing, and it's kind of a personal thing, but John Fredbear.
Yeah, I forgot to add that in there because that's someone in one of his spaces where he outright thanks
part of his team or whatever.
I don't want to say part of his team, but just like being in his life and whatnot. But even then, I feel like him saying that, oh, thank you, even, I was like, oh, I disagree with some of this stuff, but you were good. Feels disingenuous to the people he's like been weird to.
He's kicked off the side.
And also and dismissed, but also to say that you just disagree with what he did. No, like you don't just disagree with sexual harassment.
Yes. The John Fredbear thing. He was I considered him a friend, right? Because we would talk a lot, we would interact with each other a lot, and we had the same friends we met in the Faz court as well, but he would be very weird towards female members. And I will take some of the responsibility for that because I did know about some of the claims that were brought up against him, and I had talked with him about them, I believe, in voice chats in the server and stuff, and I said, you gotta stop being like that towards people. Unless they explicitly know that you're joking, which most of the people, well, quote unquote joking, it's not really like even jokes, I feel.
It didn't even feel
It's
like
not
to be
it
honest.
he would often try to toe the line between jokes, like uncomfortable jokes, but he would very often go well over that line. Like what happened with Dorkyverse. He has multiple times sent her very weird and disturbing messages. I feel like that was him trying to be funny, but also kind of not joking at the same time. He would say a lot of very weird things to people on Twitter, on Discord DMs and voice chats, and eventually it got to a point where people started calling him out for this, and he kind of disappeared, which kind of hurt because I liked the guy. Like he was cool in towards me at least. When I was unaware of the things that he was doing, and once I heard about those things, I started to stop talking to him, which I realize now that I should have done more, but at the time it wasn't really something that I thought about. Not thought about too much, but I thought that he would change, right? And obviously eventually he didn't, but that was pretty much all that happened with John Fredbear. Apparently, I didn't realize that he was even still talking to people. I thought he had entirely disappeared, but that apparently he didn't. What's next on here? Oh god. So the Fazcord thing.
Tell me about the Fazcord.
Right. That is actually pretty big. I was one of the two owners. So basically, initially the Fazcord started out having one owner pretty much, and it just got too much for him. So he transferred dual ownership in a sense. Dorky was the majority owner, if you want to put it into that kind of terms, but I was also like the secondary owner. I wasn't very active in it, but Dorky had the final say. Dorky and me had the final say in what would happen with the server and everything. She would run the events and stuff. I would kind of moderate what went on in the chats. And I was at work one day. I come back and apparently there was talks that Dorkyverse had introduced about having a I want to put this as sensitively as possible because I do believe that it was a stupid decision. Like it was a really stupid decision, but she had the idea to put in a 18 plus Fazcord After Dark channel. And pretty much the entire mod team was on board with it. And almost all of the mods at the time were well into their adulthood, including Files.
Yeah, wasn't
there
Files
was one
also
mod
on
yes.
the account on the team?
Yes, he was. He was a moderator for I don't remember how long, but one moderator who I won't name, she is kind of involved, but not really. There was pretty much one person who was against it on the mod team when she spoke her concerns because she was a minor. When this moderator, she voiced her concerns about it, Files or Cedar mocked her and essentially just diminished her very valid concerns about how this would look to people and everything. Because at this point, the server had plenty of dramas and we really had to be careful with how we presented ourselves. And so Cedar was entirely on board with this idea of the Fazcord After Dark channels until I got involved. And when I saw that this was what people like, almost the entire mod team was on board with this, I started chewing everyone out. I chewed out Dorkyverse, I chewed out everybody. And at that point,
come to find out about it?
Someone messaged me.
I think that it was Files or somebody else.
Someone told me about it. Yes. I don't remember who told me about it. I think I just saw like messages or something about like an 18 plus quote unquote club channel.
I saw
and I lost
that Files made a thread on it or a call out post on it.
Yeah. No, I don't think that would have been after everything happened.
Okay.
That would have been after. It was never intended to be like a strip club.
I've seen it honestly. I think in my eyes, from what I've seen,
I think it was.
I feel like
it wasn't.
I feel like everyone's mind was just in the gutter, to be honest.
It was there was valid reason to be concerned about it. It wasn't like it wasn't like a porn channel.
Yeah.
It was mostly just for like more 18 plus types of things. but I was still like that wasn't really my problem with it. My problem would be, one, we had minors in our admin team, and two, well, several things. Two, we had no way. Nobody wanted to verify that. And if we accidentally let someone slip into the 18 plus channel, that would just be another drama, a very serious drama that could be brought against all of us. And three, and I pissed me off at the time that none of these people who were older, or some of them were older than me, expect like some around my age, none of them had the foresight to think, hey, maybe this isn't such a good idea, including Files. He was on board with it, like I said. He was entirely on board with it until I started chewing people out in the admin about that this was a terrible idea, this is terrible optics, and everybody who was on board with it should be ashamed of themselves because it has no place in the fast chord. It was never supposed to be something for that purpose. It did not seem, and they had already implemented it by the time that I had started chewing people out for it, and they had deleted it, of course, but at the same time they had announced it, that I believe. And so that was something that kind of rubbed me the wrong way, is because I wasn't even aware that Files was on board with it until that same moderator that had raised her initial concerns DM'd me about it, because he was acting like he was always on board. He was always against it, and that he had always said that it was a bad idea, when in reality he was a very vocal supporter of it happening and being a thing. And so it kind of rubbed me the wrong way, because I was like, he's basically just lying straight to my face pretty much about what his opinions were and everything. Yeah, that was pretty much, that was like the last big thing that happened with us, other than the Goon Squad, which
well, let's get into the Goon Squad.
I'm gonna pull up the Goon Squad actually.
Oh, you
I can give you, I'm the owner of it.
Oh my god.
Do you know what the Goon Squad is?
I heard that it was literally just a friend group server. That was it. And
Yes.
you guys played Jackbox and Gartic Phone, and then Cedar threw a fucking fit over exaggerating proportionally drawn titties and dick.
Do you want to see what the picture is he's talking about?
I've seen the pictures. They're amazing.
Have you? Yeah. Like the last message that was sent in that group chat.
Getting so mad about it is so fucking fun.
The last message that was ever sent in that group chat was in like actual conversation that we had in that group chat was from like the end of 2024 to mid 2025. It was never a big thing. It was just a server we made to play Gartic Phone. It's a server. Yeah, I'm the fucking owner of it. Like,
that's just insane.
Yeah, it was never anything like what he's been trying to paint it as. The only person in there that was even like under the age of 18 was 17, and he was not allowed into the adult channel.
Even still, that's like not even that much of a problem.
Even then, it's just it's a Gartic Phone.
That's practically it is practically kind of 18, because like R-rated stuff you can go when you're 7.
It was never something where we were like drawing dicks for kids or some shit. Like, yeah, it's especially not what he was saying.
Yeah. So, tell me about how the drama started and how he even found out about it.
I don't even know how he found it out. Like, it wasn't even something that we had like thought about for at least a year when he started to bring it up. I don't know how he found out about it, and I don't know why he thinks that it's some huge fucking like grooming gang or whatever. He said didn't he say it was like a grooming server?
Or like ring. He called it a pedo ring.
What? Yeah, I don't understand where he got that idea from, because he's been shown screenshots of this group chat.
Could you actually can you actually show me the picture? Send me the pictures again, because I'll use them in my doc.
Yeah, dude.
I think I did see
like this is something that like a 15-year-old would draw. It's insane to me that he got so mad about this. I'm going through the pictures right now, and there's nothing here that you wouldn't see like drawn onto a desk in high school.
So with the whole Goon Squad,
it's a nothing burger. It's a huge nothing burger.
What is okay? I'm assuming you've seen the argument between him and.
Kind of. Called him out for being. Told him that he was a fake friend and everything.
I can't really find it at the moment, but the reason why I bring it up is because he says something think it's from the Fowles account where he says, "Move out the way, I'm taking over." That's like a quote he
Yes,
says.
that
What the
was.
fuck does he mean
I
by
think
that?
I think that was at the end of the files server and our involvement in that account.
Do you have access? Are you still in the server? Says that it
I
got
no, he
archived.
he deleted it.
Why did he delete it?
Well, probably because he lost his fucking mind. Like, I hate to say it, but it's true. He is
He did.
genuinely lost his shit after the Fazcord shut down. Like he
It's way too
genuinely
personal.
lost his shit.
Yeah, he
And he started cutting all of us off who we considered ourselves to be his friend.
How did he manage to or why did he kick you guys out of the files, and why did he drop you?
He said that it was becoming too much for him, and that was pretty much the only thing he ever said about it. It was getting too much for him. He was too stressed out. Like, I don't think that we never did anything.
Okay.
But he eventually said it was too much for him. He was getting too stressed out. Thank you. And he's archiving the server, which I think I left the server at some point. I don't know when, if it's archived, but I don't know if it's archived or if he deleted it. But that was pretty much everything. Like, that's the explanation he gave to us. Like I said, this must have happened around September to maybe like October of last year. Yeah, because I never had access to the files account.
It was just him who had it.
It was only him who was on that account. So every DM and everything, every post you see was only from Cedar.
Right. So now tell me about Team 2, the other team with Dakota. It's just something, or the other team that he had, at least. Let's just put it that way.
Well, I haven't really been paying attention to him just because it's kind of like, not really like it hurts in a way, but still, he was my friend, and it feels like he really backstabbed both me and he apparently is working with John Fredbear, which I had put to him originally when I first joined the team back in maybe January or February of last year, maybe a little bit before that, but he said that John was a fucking idiot.
Now,
he has some really strange beef with Dorky. He has been very, very weird towards her. He is very weird towards Dorkyverse.
It's weird that it's his targets of harassment are women. I've noticed that.
Yes.
With Dakota now, and who is Dakota?
Dakota was pretty much the first person he ever made a threat about, or one of the first. He was notified of that situation between Dakota and Remangled, that Dakota was, I believe, 18 or 19 and Remangled is 15 or 16.
Now that I'm thinking about this, I feel like he's actually talked about it before.
He probably has, because that was something that he literally never let go of. Even months after that situation, he would not stop talking and posting about Remangled or Dakota. I mean, in fact, he even made a post saying that he recants all of the things that he had said about Dakota. And for some reason, he, again, just never let it go. It became like an obsession almost with him, is either Remangled or Dakota. And again, women, being very weird towards women. Because there was another situation, now that you pointed out, there was another thing that happened that I helped him call someone out. It was a Spring Bonnie account who was very abusive towards his girlfriend, who was also a FNAF roleplay account. And that was a whole ordeal. The guy was basically outed as an abuser, and he ended up leaving Twitter and everything. I don't really know if anything else happened with that, but he was very white knighting almost towards pretty much every woman, it feels like. And I feel like with Dorky, it was not reciprocated at all. And that's why he likes to call her out and make so much shit up with her. Because it looked like he wanted to try to quote unquote help in his own way with Dorky. And when that was not appreciated, and when she said that it was really weird and off putting, that's when he started to become aggressive towards her, which that would have been mid to end last year.
Yeah.
And since then, you can obviously see how that's snowballed into an entire thing.
Yeah.
He's been weird towards Dakota and Remangled, both women. I think I'm not entirely sure, but that's I don't remember him ever being super weird about the Spring Bonnie thing, but it might have been. I don't obviously have.
So let's get about today, all right? About, I guess, I don't know if there's much to talk about at this point, but in regards to the day about hearing us the situation now and how you caught wind of it, or anything if you've seen what's been going on the past 6 months.
Yeah, let's see. I had heard about you from, I think, Dorkyverse. I had heard that you were part of his former friend group,
Yeah.
and he had basically done the exact same shit to you guys as he did to me and Lemony and Dorky.
Yeah, he practically did.
One thing that it's just noticing, he really, one thing that is very consistent with him is that he turns on people. He will start out with one way, supporting someone, and then after maybe a month or two or a year, he will just suddenly switch teams. It happened with me, and it happened with Remangled and Dakota. It happened with Dorkyverse. It happened with you. It happened with John Fredbear because he originally said that the guy was a fucking idiot and he would never let him anywhere near the files. Like that's just something I'm noticing is really consistent with him. There was another thing, kind of related. I think this kid's like 14 or 15. This kid named Milkburger or Wooden Puppet. I don't know if you've heard that name,
Sounds familiar.
but he was someone who was exposed for being really weird. And yes, he was very weird, but he was also a 15-year-old or a 14-year-old. And Files would have, I have a screenshot of him long after that drama. I don't remember who it was, but someone convinced him to basically torment this fucking kid.
You want to do some closing thoughts or like conclusions?
For the Fazcord, he entirely lied to me about whether the fact that he supported it, and again turned on everybody once I started getting involved with it, because I don't know, maybe he looked up to me or something, considered me a friend at the time. That was kind of the start of where he started turning against Dorkyverse, as well as in a sense rejected his what he probably viewed as being friendly, and that led into all of the drama happening between him and Dorkyverse as of now. The Goon Squad, entirely over talked about. He has been told several times and shown several times what the server was, what we talked about in the server, who was, I don't think he ever got to see who was in it. He has been consistently shown to completely ignore everything that people have told him about it in favor of what he thinks it's about. Obviously, it's still something that he is hung up about, a server that we really haven't used in 2 years. It was never anything like what he is describing it to be. It was never really anything that was serious, like to ever taken seriously. I'm not entirely sure. I think he's trying to use it to discredit anything that comes out against him, without realizing that it makes him look stupid, because it is nothing, literally nothing. And I think he's trying to use that as a way to weave out of taking any sort of responsibility or accountability for the things that he has done and the people he has hurt. Dakota, that was someone who, in my opinion, and after I got to talk to them more, not justified for any of the stuff that Files painted them out to be. And I think it's very weird that he continually would repeatedly switch teams on who he liked as a person, whether it was Dakota or Remangled. And that is just, again, into the being weird towards women thing, the white knighting thing, where he wants to be viewed as kind of a savior in a sense. It is very strange to me. For anybody who actually knows him, he is not like that at all. He's very immature. He will do things that hurt people if it makes him look good or if it just is funny to him. He will throw anybody under the bus for his own personal benefit. And that has been something that has very obviously been shown on both his Twitter and his Discord. I don't know what it is. That is just something that I'm at least like now only really starting to realize, is that he is incredibly manipulative into making people think that he is the guy that you have to kind of look up towards, or he will fix, or he will save the day in a sense, which I feel like that might be why he started the Files account to begin with. And obviously it didn't go that way, but he has been shown to backstab people as soon as they either, one, start disagreeing with him, or two, he has no use for them anymore. It's happened before, and it will happen again. I feel like that's not even really a bold statement. It's just the truth. It happened with BK Dumpster. It happened with me. It happened with Dorkyverse. It happened with Dakota and Remangled several times. He only really seems to care about making himself either look good or hurting the people who he thinks have wronged him.
If you were to say something to Cedar, what would it be?
Fuck, dude, I'm disappointed, honestly. Like, I considered him a good friend, and both one, the way that I have seen him act towards people and towards me and is disgusting. I'm honestly very disappointed in the way he's been acting ever since he kicked us off the team.
Now, after what happened at the end of January and everything happening in Dorkyverse, Cedar kept consistently and constantly sending me friend requests and revoking them immediately. And this is a thing he actively does still to this day. And most times I would just ignore him until he started spamming them on his alt account. Now, I'm going to own up and say I generally should have just blocked him with it. I can explain exactly my reason as to why I didn't block him at this moment. I'm normally the type of person who doesn't really block people. Regardless of what happens, I feel this need to be available to settle things or if it's something serious. That's just me though, and honestly, I'm just starting to think that I should just toss out this ideology. But anyways, I honestly just decided to say, screw it, and hopefully try to just put this thing to rest. So he would just stop bugging me. I tell him basically, hey, if you want to settle this, let's schedule it since I work a lot this week. He says he'll be free after 5 on Wednesday. And then 30 minutes later starts being an asshole about it. Okay, mister, I got a life. Buddy, you're the same guy that tells me to get off the internet and touch grass, yet when I do, you get all mad about it? That doesn't make any sense. He says that he's going to bring in a moderator for the discussion, and I suggest AJ, and before even getting Cedar's response, I hit up AJ asking him if he would like to moderate us talking, and AJ agrees. And then Cedar mentions someone who has no knowledge of anything, but I try to compromise with him on the mediator, and wondering why not the person who knows more about our situation, who's neutral with both of us. I feel like it would make things more fair than someone who is with his friend and a random person on the internet in that person's eyes. Then Cedar starts talking bad about AJ, who literally is his friend too, saying that he's chronically online on Twitter too much. Why would you say that about your friend? And then Cedar comes back saying that I cried to AJ because I couldn't move on. You're the one spamming me friend requests. What are you talking about? And throughout what's on the screen is just Cedar being rude for literally no reason. And like this time, I'm really keeping my composure and being extremely respectful towards him. And he's constantly is repeating that he doesn't care if the call happens or not. You're gonna see how terrible of a lie that is later. And I call him out, saying that it's clear that he has something to say to me from constant spam requests. Cedar then goes on to make a bullshit claim backing no evidence to say that Dorkyverse faked her mental breakdown for sympathy points, which I just find is disgusting to say. I had noticed what was happening with Dork, and I can say that it was 100% real and not sympathy baiting, just a person struggling with their mental health. And the next day, they deleted those tweets and apologized for making it public. I then keep telling Cedar that he should just maybe take it down a notch and leave his thoughts for the call, desperately trying to tell him not to jeopardize it. Although, like Cedar is always doing, he's not listening and is also stuck how I called him a PDF file. So I just try to put him at ease, and I send in a long, 5-minute long voice note explaining that night from my point of view.
All right, let me explain everything on that day. So I believe it was like late at night, and me were in a debate with our mutual friend. We were like a really long debate, watching like an hour and a half long video about fucking Charlie Kirk or some bullshit, right? And we're debating our friend on it. And decides to call me in a group chat, just me and her, just me, her, and him, and was like, "Hey, do y'all know what's going on with Cedar?" And then we're like, "No, what's going on?" And then she tells us to check your Instagram, and we check it, and it's you walking around in the snow, and you're like, it honestly reminded us of the Etika video. Like the way how you were acting reminded me. It was like, this looks like Etika's last video. So like, I'm really concerned. I'm like, but, and the way how you were saying it in that video, in those videos, I don't know if you still have them or if you're able to look back, but you said something of like, to all the victims and the people I've hurt, or like the victims, I hope that they can move on from what I've done to them and stuff like that. So I want you to genuinely process that in someone else's head, or like when you hear somebody else say that. If you hear someone else say that, oh, from all the stuff that I've done to them, and I hope that they move on, and my victims or something like that will. You said I know you said like the word victims and move on and something like that. If you hear somebody say that, oh, I hope that the people I've hurt and my victims will move on and find peace after what I'm about to do or something like that, and it's something. The first thing that goes to my head, or anybody's head, or you, like if we generally sit back and think, what pops to your head when somebody says that? Either think you did a sexual act against someone's consent, or you like kill somebody, right? We thought it was that serious. The way of how it was, we thought it was that, because I was like, I genuinely don't know what this could be. And we were hoping, like, I want you to think, Cedar, like, we didn't want that to happen. Like, God, no. We hoping that this wasn't the case. And thank God it wasn't. Thank God you're not that. That would be fucking awful, and nobody wanted you. Nobody truly thought that you were either of those things. It's just the first thought that comes to our mind because of the way of how you worded things on that time. I get it. You were not in the right headspace, and it kind of sound off really bad, which I can see that, but I forget even why the reason why I sent you on that call, because it's just been so long, but that's what I was trying to explain to you of why we were wanting context about everything, because it sounded that bad, but you weren't telling us. So when we had that idea that you did something really bad and then you're not telling us about it, that would make us think that you're hiding something really bad, which is why I was like, you got to tell us what happened, because like if it's that serious or not, but we got to know what happened. That's what I was saying at that point, because of how serious you made. But when we all got on that call on BK Dumpster, sorry, my AC just kicked on. When we all got on that call on BK Dumpster on that day, and I was like, Cedar, talk to me. What talk to us? What's going on? What's going on? Like you sat there for like 10 minutes in silence, and we were sitting there, and then you basically said that you were harassing just somebody online, and we were like, and then you kept saying that you were going to go to jail, and then you were like, and then we were like, that's it, dude, you're fine, you're fine. And maybe we did laugh. It does seem really shitty in your perspective. I can totally see that, but we just thought we didn't exactly know like of the situation, like what was happening, because there was a lot going on, and it just didn't seem, the way how you put it, it didn't seem that serious for you to go to jail. And we're like, you're fine, right? And then I think you said that you had to go, or you had to go do something, or you left the call. You end up leaving the call for some reason, and it wasn't that. It's because you had to go do something. And I don't know if it was you go in the hospital or whatnot, but we were talking about it and saying stuff. We were like, we're hoping that he's okay and whatnot, but he's not going to go to jail. He's fine. Like, we thought that, because we didn't understand what was happening. I really want you to put that down. We didn't understand what was happening. And I do want to say I'm sorry for not handling that situation. We totally could have done that better, and that is on my fault entirely.
Now, Cedar will try to use this against me the entire time, you will see, but I don't see anything I said wrong in that voice note. I feel like I made myself perfectly clear of what I thought, and it still confuses me to this day of what I said was so wrong about it. To which, though, that Cedar, though, would refuse to listen to it, but then 5 hours later actually listen to it, doesn't understand it, and then flips out, and then says that the call isn't happening anymore and blocks me. I then just give up with him, and I move on with my day. To which I wake up the next morning with AJ telling me that Cedar wants to do the call again. Are you serious? You spam me with friend requests for 2 months straight. I welcome you with open arms and a respectful conversation. You then spit in my face, use me as an emotional punching bag, tell me to F off, but then come crawling back to me? Genuinely, what sense does that make? And I'm not going to engage with this guy anymore because there's clearly no reasoning with him if it's just I'm gonna say something, he's gonna get mad, and then he's just gonna block me, and then he's gonna try to keep adding me all over again. So then I go and type up a very nice, lengthy message for him. And then I accept his friend request, and I send him the biggest fuck you he's ever been told in his life, probably. I don't think I can show the entire full thing on screen because I low-key wrote that message out of hate and malice. I'm not even gonna lie with y'all. I did that. I mean everything I said in that message, and that's a hill I'm willing to die on. I do not regret writing that in the slightest. I suggest you read it for yourself. It'll be in the Google Drive, as I've explained before, and I'll label it as my villain monologue, as Cedar likes to call it. But if you don't want to, I'll say the main parts. I basically told him that he's a nuisance, how he's gonna say I'm not reading all that, a liar, a scumbag, crazy, all he does is think about me, how he's an annoying mosquito in the dark, and that last part I will address later on more in this video. Basically, though, through my eyes, I dropped a psychological warfare bomb on him, and oh my god, did it get under his skin. He then says this voice note.
Dude, I'm gonna be so for real. I'm not reading all that. I don't get an answer in 5 minutes. I'm not adding you.
While I sent this, I was on a call with Bonnie Fan because we thought this message I cooked up was funny as hell, and we wanted to know what Cedar's reaction was going to be. To spoil things, though, he did not unadd me after 5 minutes. What he did proceed to do was spam call me in a group chat for the next hour and a half. I'm not even joking with you. To mess with him, I started sending him screenshots in this group chat and then he started pulling up ones of like no context messages from 2 to 4 years ago that don't even make sense and is just irrelevant. And when questioned about it, Cedar just said old stuff when AJ questioned him. And it just goes to show that Cedar is just grasping at straws to make me look bad in any possible way he can. After I refuse to join the call, he then makes a YouTube short with my long paragraph and my voice note as some sort of like gotcha, like haha, look, everyone looking up, but it backfires really bad on him, and everyone is just dogpiling him in the comments. I don't think I have any screenshots for it, but it's so funny. Especially Dorky is also in these comments, to which the Cedar claims to him that I've been the one harassing him, and that I sent him death threats? Yeah, he literally pulls that out of his ass, and then proceeds to dox Dorky's first private name, which is not able to be found. Like, maybe mine and Bonnie fans, that's possible, but this information for Dorky is not easily accessible to find either. Cedar either remembered / saved their name from their GoFundMe as a tool to weaponize a response from Dorky. This is absolute mental and psychotic behavior to pull this kind of move. Now, before you say things all like, whoa, Mango, why did you bring up this personal thing about him and Cedar? Which is a valid question to ask. I don't blame you for asking that. My answer to that is because that he showed those screenshots of me saying that already multiple times in the public, that he harassed someone online and still brings it up to this day talking about it. If you were so worried about this info being public, then don't ever talk about it. But a GoFundMe is public. Yes, but all that information is legally required to be public. Joykiverse did not have a choice with that information, but Cedar willingly did that. Oh, and we're not even done yet, because this guy proceeded hours later to spam call me on fucking Snapchat. Yet it doesn't stop there. About an hour later, I get a DM from a friend asking me about something. He then tells me that he just got off a call with Cedar, and he sounded extremely delusional. According to my dear friend, this is what happened in their call. This is all a quote coming from him. He said, "You were all harassing him, constantly attacking it and making lies about him. You, Bonnie fan, Crafty, etc. Apparently he was paying Dorky's rent, and Dorky said, 'I'm not comfortable with you,' portraying Dorky in a bad way. He also said Dorky suicide baited / made fun of his suicide attempt, which is not true at all. And what he means by this is Cedar smashed his phone and told Dorky about it, and then, then later on down the road when this whole beef was all happening, Dorky said something along the lines of, 'Smash all of your electronics and never talk to me again,' which was no correlation with that, and Cedar is just pulling things out of his ass again. Like, there's no correlation between those two. He said you all were no lives, ironic, and said we had no reason in your lives, like you all don't have personal problems. He said you guys were bored, and that's why we're all attacking and harassing him. He also said in that video he called Dorky a victim, and I specifically called him a PDF file. He also said the others joined in. He mentioned you were all still making a video on him, which I was not at that time, trying to expose him as a PDF file and such, saying that they won't get far. He said he tried to reach out to you all multiple times, but you all kept blocking him, or you all cowered out when it came to the actual call. Buddy, you cowered out first. He mentioned AJ a few times, but nothing too serious. He said you didn't understand his OCD and you all simply called him schizophrenic because none of you apparently cared. Also, he literally went against every screenshot you showed me, gave me no real evidence over than the messages he sent me where you snapped at him. Apparently, when he said the R word, he apologized over and over again, but you guys wouldn't accept it. He told me he wants you all to apologize. He said Bonnie fan was deliberately ignoring him like Bonnie fan was bad, which never was the case. Cedar never said anything or ever reached out to Bonnie fan. He said if the video did release, he would have a watch party and wanted me to join. He tried telling me that I was the only one who isn't against me other than AJ. He really painted you and Dorky in a bad light. The AI thing he kept mentioning, saying you all attacked him for it, and he kept doing it over it all. I did try to stick up for you guys by saying both sides were in the wrong. I said that so I can see what he would say. He said yes, but he really pointed the blame at you guys, really admitting that he messed up. He was so paranoid that he thought I was recording him and got annoyed partly through, insisting I wouldn't get dragged into it. I even denied joining his watch party. I believe this goes to show the amount of hoops Cedar's willing to jump through just to get my attention all in the span of a few hours. This type of behavior I find scary is that he goes around to neutrals and different socials begging for any sort of attention and paints me in a bad light. For also some odd reason, Cedar is genuinely obsessed with me working at Taco Bell, if you haven't noted it by now. This guy is worse than fucking Nikki from Obsession. If you want to know the exact amount, it's 14 times. 10 of which being in the last 6 months of all that's happened. And he will literally bring it up out of nowhere and has never been to any correlation to any conversation ever. After 2 weeks go by, I get a message from AJ about Cedar, but this time it's actually different. He told me Cedar willingly took down all the videos about us and wanted to apologize and settle things between us. I'm going to try and skim through this conversation for time's sake, and I'll go over the major parts while still showing everything. But basically though, Cedar's positions on these subjects have not changed. However, he seemed more open-minded compared to the previous times of trying to go over this. It seemed this time a breakthrough was finally happening. I overly explained to Cedar how I have already owned up my parts numerous times on how communication could have been improved upon and mishandling everything that's been going on. How we never had a grudge about AI, and the issue was him not letting it die so we can move on from it. He even admits his faults for not being clear enough, which does happen a lot in this conversation. But once it felt like things were finally going on track, and we both end up apologizing for how we could have been better, leading us to do the call on my lunch break, to say our final piece to each other. I then convinced Cedar to go and apologize to everyone in BK Dumpster and Dorkyverse and everything else, which he does and doesn't do, I guess, but it doesn't really matter. The following day, Cedar then asked me about what flaws he should work on from my perspective, and surprisingly, Cedar took it well. And I told him that we just need to keep our distances for a while, and perhaps maybe in a year he can come back into the group chat if things go smoothly and we can all be cool with each other again. There's a lot more I didn't address, but some I will get to later in this video, and others I didn't feel was much worth talking about. We then thank each other for the respectful conversations and say our goodbyes, and we move on. I thought it was finally over. For the first time in those 5 months, I felt like something productive finally happened, and I didn't need to worry about some random video being dropped on me. Boy, was I wrong! Now that we're nearly caught up with the present day, but there's still a little bit of stuff that happened prior. Cedar sent Dorkyverse a friend request, and about a day prior to that, he randomly posted a thread on somebody that came across my feed, which is now deleted. Then the next 3 days, he starts sending me friend requests on his Files account, which I just respond by blocking it. And then he tries to go and joins Bonnie Fan's Discord server, which makes him be banned immediately. I made it abundantly clear to him that I didn't want to speak with him for a good long while. I then talked to Dorkyverse about this. Both of us know what's going to happen next. He's going to drop some sort of thread or video on us for literally no reason at all. Then he starts talking to a guy all of BK Dumpster had problems with about 3 years ago now, saying that this person was in the right the entire time about us. Even though Cedar was on our side, and he's just trying to create problems with them all over again, just for the sake of drama. And then finally, after the following day after that, boy, I must be a psychic, because he dropped a video on me specifically and BK Dumpster. And now we can finally go and respond to it. He starts off this video claiming that we were taking advantage of his kindness from when he would reach out. I'm sorry, but how is this kindness? I don't know how you expect this to be fucking kind.
After April of this year, you have gone ahead. Not only have you all shown, I don't know this for sure because I don't know what you guys are doing behind the scenes, but after you blasted me on your Discord server, after you've shown and leaked my private information.
Yeah, this information is just completely made up, and I still have no idea what he's even referring to. After we settled things, I didn't bring you up a single time, Cedar, or anyone at any Discord server, or to anybody at all. Even in Bonnie's Discord server, which I'm assuming you're referring to because you tried snooping around in it, there is no evidence of us mentioning your name or the situation publicly. I will link his server so you can search things for yourself, the viewer, to see if he's mentioned it at one time, which is not. Like, look, I'll even show you right here, right now. Leaking your private information, I do not know where you're getting this from. I have no reason to talk to you about you. I'm calling you crazy and insane because you are in fact insane. You're over here beating a dead horse that was something that we settled months ago, constantly harassing us with friend requests over and over again because you cannot let the situation go and move on.
In fact, what they don't mention is the fact that I posted these videos addressing to them on a dead YouTube channel. I don't want to say dead, but a channel that nobody watches. It's on my second channel, and it's on the second channel for a reason, and it's because nobody watches it.
This doesn't mean anything. I don't care if it's on a dead YouTube channel or not. The point is that you made a situation public that was never needed to be public. In fact, you have this channel linked on your main channel, welcoming your main viewers to flock over to see these videos. You constantly move the goalpost for your motivations on keeping these posts up. And it's like, it's so you guys actually listen to me. It's so you people hear my side. It's on a dead YouTube channel. You can't even stay consistent with your reasoning of why these videos even exist in the first place.
Said that I dox your work history or workplace, whatever it is, and that I doxed you because I leaked your guys' names. I think what he's talking about with the workplace is the fact that I mentioned in the video that I used to work at a Taco Bell and I used to work at a Home Depot. Home Depot and Taco Bell are establishments. They are everywhere.
There's 2 points I want to make with this. One of them being, I don't give a shit. You still aired out half of my work resume and slandered about what happened to me at these jobs. It's not about just who's seeing them that gives me some sort of worry. It's the small chance, that one small chance that an employer could potentially see my name, where I worked, and connect the dots, which could screw me over potentially. It's not crazy to say that I'm uncomfortable for you to talk about where I used to work. The fact that you're still bringing it up is insane to me, and that shows that every apology you have said in the past about it was a bullshit lie and that you don't feel bad about anything you've done the past 6 months. My second point is that, yes, it is absolutely traceable regardless if you leave it vague or not. A first name and an establishment is literally all you need to find someone. Like, for example, Taco Bell and Home Depot. Taco Bell has a college tuition reimbursement that they can take, and they can take a picture of someone, post it, congratulating them with their name in it, and it can be easily identified who that person is and where they are, and even the location sometimes. If you literally go look up in Google Taco Bell congratulating employees, you will find tons of photos of people with their names attached to it, and like I said, sometimes locations. Meaning if I did have one, it would be able to be identified. This isn't just with like Taco Bell either. This goes for along with local businesses. Local businesses that have their own social media pages that can do the same thing of congratulating me, which can make it me even more identifiable because it's locally, doxing me even more. A first name in a workplace is literally all you need to know to find somebody. Keeping your identity a secret on the internet is virtually impossible anymore. One thing you're going to notice here is that in this video, it's literally all over the place. You will see dates from screenshots jump from January to April to back to January. And it's because he's trying his hardest to just fabricate and make up things.
Ever since the fallout with the AI situation at the start of this year, this has been a spiral, and I found myself not being able to get a chance to speak, and just nobody answering my messages.
This is not true, as I've shown before. Here it is again. Multiple conversations of us talking with you after the AI and you leaving the hospital.
You know, we had a call. I apologize for, just my flaws during that fallout. But I'm also allowed to express how I feel.
Jesus Christ, you literally just never listen. Telling your friends off because they disagreed with you is not okay. You're just bringing it back up because you have nothing better to do, so you cause tension because it's all you have filled in your mind with the past year and a half.
There's no issue with that, and I'm sorry that things didn't really turn out the way you wanted to that day. So that's what I'm really apologizing for now.
So does that mean you're also revoking your apology for how you acted and calling us a slur too? You're just not gonna... That's it?
But I kept getting interrupted by him when he kept talking over me in the call.
I love how you literally just skipped over till the very end of this call after you also kept talking over me and ignoring everything we talked about prior.
In the video that I apparently posted on my Instagram in December, they thought that the video I posted, was a red flag, and they actually thought, in his words, we thought that you groomed somebody. We thought you killed someone. We thought you were a pedophile.
Nobody ever said that it was a red flag or anything. And Cedar, if you actually watch the whole video instead of skimming through it and not listening, there's nothing else for me to address here. I already explained numerous times that nobody genuinely thought you were one. Please, let's use our thinking skills here.
When you use the term we, what does that imply? Who else are you talking about? The BK dumpster. So yeah, that's why I unleashed the beast. We've known each other for so long, and that's what you're gonna use against me just because we had just a simple disagreement over AI?
There's no correlation between these two.
We had one more attempt to talk to one another, and the end of January, I kind of forgot the context of what that all was about. So
this goes to show that you literally don't care enough to read the full conversations we have, and you cherry pick screenshots whilst not providing full context. You don't care about truth, you care about a narrative because you have to scroll through our messages where we settled things. You literally look past where we settled things and apologize to each other. This video shouldn't even exist. You're just ignoring everything that happened.
I didn't receive anything from the BK dumpster.
You did.
Like, time they spoke about it after was when they were using my personal experience as a weapon against me.
Cedar gets his dates wrong here because the December incident where he sent that video was on the night of December 9th. He told us the following day that he went to the hospital for his knee and that there was nothing to worry about. Look, here it is right here. The voice note he brings back up was referring to the 9th.
Mango would also bring this up in January when things were heated, and he demanded to know what was going on with my personal life and what happened that day.
Would you consider harassing someone, tormenting their mental health for years, as your personal life? Sounds like you just want to hide the fact you like harassing people and don't like to get caught out on it, when we just want you to elaborate more on it so you can assure us that you didn't actually cause harm to somebody, which you did, by the way.
I specifically did not tell you guys anything because that's for my own business to handle with.
Then why go out of your way to tell us you did something messed up if you're not going to talk about it later? Obviously, we're going to want to know if you seriously did something to somebody, because you say you came to us about it only that time, but that's just not true. In fact, you've talked about it multiple times, and it's what made our suspicions keep growing if you're hiding something.
What he failed to mention it in that voice memo is the fact that after our fallout, that's when their thought process came in that I apparently groomed somebody. There was no apology with that.
Again, I literally never said you did, and clearly you didn't even listen to the fucking voice note where I say, I'm sorry!
You might be thinking, Cedartree, that's April 14th. Like, that's 3 months later, right? Yeah, well, I'm just gonna show these screenshots of what he said the next day.
I love how you don't show anything prior to those messages.
And understandably, I was mad because you kept bringing it up over and over again, a personal affair that I was dealing with. You kept bringing up something that I'm trying to forget.
Me when I lie. In the previous conversations, I have said repeatedly that we don't have to keep discussing about it. We don't have to keep talking about it. Yet it was you who kept mentioning how I called you a PDF file, and I tried to get away from that topic, but you're the one who kept dragging me back into it, forcing me to discuss it.
I don't even want to really talk about this, but yeah, you forced me to come out with it now because you guys went around your Discord server calling this channel out.
Again, that's never happened.
I have a friend that's gonna testify, and that friend that night, Zydeco, he was there in person.
Started with his video he posted on Instagram where he's clearly not in a good headspace. He was using very harsh language against himself, saying how he deserved to go to jail and that he'd hurt so many people. My first thought when watching this was not to jump to an extreme and assume he's guilty.
We never assumed either. We didn't even know what was happening.
Now, despite all this, you guys seem to only care about his use of AI.
Holy shit, I'm genuinely so sorry Cedar lied to you, to your face, because it was never about the use of AI. I think I would be the first quadrillionaire for how many times I have to mention that.
And we're attacking him for using it to touch up his thumbnails, which every YouTuber does nowadays.
Just because it's more frequent nowadays doesn't mean it's okay. And there's tons of studies that you can pull up that shows how bad AI literally is.
Mango, you were a disgusting and hateful individual, because after all the stuff that Cedar went through, you guys cut him off for using AI to enhance his thumbnails and using the R slur. But from my point of view, you clearly never cared about him and were looking for an excuse to cut ties. And y'all are using his mental health episode as a justification, which is just so disgusting.
If a mentally unwell person is treating us like shit and harassing us all the time and other people, I think we have every right to cut him off until he's in a better place mentally. I'm not going to sit here and be used as a punching bag for those to take their illness out on, and because your mental health is not an excuse for how you treat people.
Mango and Dorkyverse twisted Cedar's attempts to try and resolve the situation into him, quote-unquote, harassing them.
Here's proof of harassment and constant nagging.
Using his mental health as a weapon, saying that Cedar's obsessed with them and that he uses drama to distract from his sick and twisted thoughts. Now, this is a quote from you, Mango.
Yeah, I said that, and it's true, because here we are again. Cedar being in silence for so long, he has to make noise so he doesn't have to confront his problems again.
And after you dodged a VC that you agreed to do with me and Cedar to clear up the situation.
You really expect me to join after he called off first and lashing out on me. Clearly, if you think that way, you don't have a spine and you let people walk all over you if you allow them to treat you like that.
You send a deranged villain monologue threat to Cedar, going on about how you haven't thought about him in weeks, and you only see him as an annoying mosquito in the dark that you need to kill. This is a quote that you said. And this is after Cedar attempted to take his life.
You are spinning this as if I sent this right after his attempt. This was after constant harassment and degrading comments Cedar made towards me because I simply didn't care to act friendly at that point. I mean, think about this, Deco. Why is it that Cedar removed you from that call? It's because he simply didn't want you to go back and read through everything so he can easily twist the narrative to you. And with this whole mosquito thing, I did turn the table on Cedar because he was practically doing the same thing he did to that person, but to us now. By killing the mosquito, I mean that in a metaphorical sense to eradicate his presence in my life as an attempt to just leave me alone. I think the way I reacted to that big message was completely justified and valid after months of constant negative and snarky comments being made towards me.
And you come out here saying that any sympathy you showed him in the past was all an act, that BK Dumpster has been laughing at Cedar all along because he, quote, acts like an immature man-child.
Please point out where I even say this at all. There is no threat here, and you're just making up things. I stated that if this was back in January, I would have still cared about our friendship, but I didn't at this point, and to this day, I don't care enough to rebuild it because of everything that's happened.
And because Cedar didn't bow down to everything that y'all claim is correct, he was banned from the group entirely.
He left on his own terms.
To wrap this up, Cedar has tried multiple times to reach out, to try and calm the situation, to explain himself, and to just resolve all the drama and beef.
My God, did he lie to you? Because we literally did. The beef has been settled. There hasn't been any problems until now.
But you guys keep on harassing him. Now you're doxing his face.
Proof?
He was on the call with the acquaintance saying how because of the videos, he's going to come to my town and to kill me himself. I confronted him in direct messages. He then comes out and says, figure of speech.
I want to know what he means by this, because I jokingly said, I gotta slime him out. I'm sorry, but you gotta be an extremely sensitive person if you're taking the words sliming out seriously. That is a chronic online behavior thing. And he shows the screenshot of me saying it's figurative speech. What he doesn't show is literally me telling him that it's stupid if I ever truly thought I was the type of person to do something like that. Now, after this video was made, I told Dorkyverse that he did again, to which Dorky drops the bomb and releases all the screenshots of everything that's happened between them, causing an all-out quote retweet back and forth between the two. And another thing that happened was the members of BK Dumpster wrote their own response in the comments of this video, to which Cedar deletes because he got clocked the fuck out of. Let me just read to you them now. The first statement being from Bonnie Fan, which I like to say that he summed things up perfectly.
So unfortunately for it, I had a voiceover of the comment, but I lost it, it got like corrupted, and I didn't feel like going over it again, and every text-to-speech bot just kind of sucks, so I'm just going to put them in the drive, but I'm still going to show the other comments here, and I'll put one up here, but I suggest you just go look at the drive yourself.
Cedar eventually then goes to make another video, but this time focusing on Dorky's thread on him. Now, I'm not going to go over the entire video, but he brings me and a few BK members up that I'll be responding to.
I was just helping somebody who was in need. That's it. And now you're labeling me as somebody who is a threat and will show up to your town to find you. Which again, is a disgusting accusation. It should be common sense that in no way would I ever do that.
Oh, so when I say it's a joke, I'm going to slime you out, it's a death threat, and you genuinely believe I would do that. But when you get labeled as a threat, suddenly it's common sense that you wouldn't do that. You're just a hypocrite.
Regarding the BK Dumpster, I had been deleting YouTube comments made by them on my YouTube video because it is all a lie and propaganda they desperately are trying to get out into public view.
Hold on. If these are lies and that you've already debunked them, why delete them? It's because they're not lies and you were desperately trying to cover up the holes in your story and your video when we were calling you out. We have every right to keep sending these comments because you were genuinely a coward.
These comments have been disgusting, and I have been non-stop spammed with them over and over again as they come to my DMs after blocking me to edit some random message of theirs to play victim and say how I'm harassing them.
Yes, I did that because you literally won't stop stalking us, and you're proving that point that you constantly go back in messages and look over at them over and over again because you're obsessed with us. If you didn't care about us and was so tired of the drama, you wouldn't keep going back and looking at us. Move on.
The comment I'll address in particular is one made by BonnieFan69, saying how he had debunked everything in the video I made on them. Pretty much all of his points were already debunked in that same video.
Okay, then why delete them again? If you're so adamant on exposing us for lying, then leave it up to prove that we're just stupid in your eyes. Just leave it up so you can show everyone how stupid we are.
BonnieFan69 continues to paint the narrative that they only thought of me as a pedophile or somebody who had killed somebody in those span of 20 minutes before I called them that exact same night. Though in the previous video, this also was debunked numerous times.
You didn't debunk anything. You had someone speak for you, which is all just hearsay, and the only thing shown that was Zydeco calling you. Also, again, no one's labeling you as one, and it's clear that you are the one who cannot understand something that isn't what you want to hear. I've repeated myself numerous times in this video that we are not labeling you as a PDF file. You also not showing BFan's full comments shows that you're literally spinning the narrative by not addressing all the other points in the comment. This section I won't go over to too much detail about, but essentially you can see Cedar active impulsively and just making no sense. Like here it says he doesn't remember when he sent a friend request, but then the little next sentence states when he does. He's just a fucking idiot. He has 3 spaces, one of them being deleted where it's the end of the files, and it's 40 minutes of a shitty piano loop. And then there's an 8-minute one where he thanks everyone, like how I showed earlier, of everyone he's exposed and being friends with. Then there's this 13-minute one where he attempts to address the thread Dorky made, but it's literally him just making fun of them the entire time. It's just a nothing burger and ranting. Like here, let me show you the things he says.
So unfortunately, after going back and trying to find said space, he has since deleted it, which is, honestly, he's just now covering his tricks. But I'm going to go over just some of the things that like he says, and first one is that, and it's going to go over in order. First one he says is that he basically makes fun of Dorkyverse and how they sound, and also making fun of their name, like their actual like dead legal name. Not being sorry for like leaking them on the GoFundMe by saying that she sounds like a big old seal. Well, I said her name, but she said my name over 100 times. And then in that he's like referring to Cedartree, or like just Cedar. And then he asks for an apology. He then says something that says along the lines of, it's petty for them to bring this stuff back. And then there is him making fun of Dorkyverse. I think it was referring to when Dorkyverse got first evicted from their home and fake crying as a way to mock Dorkyverse. I could be entirely wrong about that. I'm not entirely too sure.
Here's him not being sorry for doxing Dorky's full name and making fun of it, and saying that it's not a big deal because it's their first name. Which, by the way, like I said before, the only way that he got Dorky's first legal name was through the GoFundMe, meaning he really did keep the information of their personal details somewhere, or has a way to hold over their head. Actual degenerate behavior. If your name really is Cedar, then that's got to be one of the dumbest things, because it's literally on your YouTube channel name. You posted the video on. It's everywhere it's all over your social medias, and that's why we refer to you. I don't know what kind of gotcha moment that is. I want an apology. Nah, you're not getting shit after posting us again. We're not letting you off the hook this time. It's pretty petty for them to bring the stuff back. Be so for real. My favorite part about his frantic meltdown tweets is where he's over here saying how he's tired of the drama and is begging for us to DM him to drop it, when you literally brought it back up first. Nobody was speaking to you or wanted to deal with your antics, so you got all pissy and made up some fabricated story, posted it, and now that since you got backlash, you want to try and play the victim, please cry me a river.
So I actually have more of an update, like, in regards to more of his tweets, because he's been tweeting actively again. And it all started from this video. Just because you didn't be a good content creator doesn't mean you have to. I am a fucking good content creator. I'm just stuck making shit Roblox content because someone will get out their fat fucking ass and drama farm for me. I'm not your clip farmer. Stay in character. Stay in character. Just let me be. Stay in character! Fuck you! What did you say? You want to know the real reason we dropped you? It wasn't the AI, or the spam request, or you calling me the R slur. It was the lack of accountability. Nothing's ever your fault, is it? You tweak on Twitter? Blame Dorkyverse. You crash out? Blame your friends. You make up lies? Blame everyone else. You drop defamatory videos and harass us? Blame your brain. You are your fucking brain, you dipshit! And then he started to like retweet like weeks or like a week or two after it, and just trying so hard to act like, oh, I don't care, but it so clearly bothers him, and he's been doing like frantic tweets trying to get under my skin and arguing with other people in the replies, literally telling them, and like they're calling him out, telling him that what he's doing is not okay, and even going in mutuals DMs, begging them to have me DM him, and literally also just making things up about him. Like it's just so weird how he just throws accusations like it's nothing. Right now is as of August 11th at around 12:30 p.m. EST, and I genuinely need to address this because Cedar is going off the fucking rails right now and is taking things too far where it's getting really bad now. A couple of days ago, Cedar deactivated his files account, which is now back up. And when he did deactivate it, I made a post with a screen recording of showing that it's deactivated and with the caption being "smoking that files back." And whilst in this screen recording, AJ sent a DM and it showed up with his username in it. What happened the following days is that Cedar took it upon himself to go through possibly tens or maybe even hundreds of Sonic Discord servers to say this. I'm not gonna lie, this genuinely startled me because because how many lengths are you willing to go through just to say this to get to me? How fucking many are you going to do this for? This is genuine stalker behavior. It doesn't even stop here because he has been trying to join Discord servers on his burner Discord account through an old server I have and an old Twitter link I had and Bonnie Fan's Discord server fucking twice. He has done it twice now. Now, I also posted a sort of trailer of like this whole video on my TikTok, on my personal TikTok. And right after I did so, I had to see what looked like a burner account view my profile. I do not know if it was him or not, but it honestly makes me paranoid if it is because I've told him numerous times throughout the process of this video that I do not want to fucking speak to him. I do not want to talk to him at all in the slightest. Now, as of today, something crazy has happened. You know how I said earlier in this video that he either might have kept the GoFundMe screenshots? I was fucking right. I was right the entire fucking time because now he is leaking out what state Dorky lives in. Granted, I know that doesn't, by definition, means it's on illegal grounds, but Cedar is pushing the line little by little to see how much he can fucking get away with. This behavior is not okay at fucking all, and it's sickening that he is taunting everyone that he has Dorky's address saved in his phone.
As I have been writing and editing this script so far, Cedar randomly sent me a friend request again as another desperate attempt to speak to me. I'm not going to accept it either. This whole cat and mouse game has been dragged on for months and months, and so let's go over what we've discussed. Cedar has a history of erratic and impulsive self-destructing behavior, creates drama and chaos with relationships for the sake of attention, willing to result in personal, childlike insults, consistently lie to the people around him, twist the narrative, leak out personal information, and finally, constant harassment to those who plead with him to be left alone, enough to the point he's almost gone to prison for. Now, before I end this video, I need to address directly to you, Cedar, because I know you're watching this video because you can't help yourself. For 6 months, you have been nothing but constantly obsessed over me and my friends, and I'm so tired of this. The second this video is posted, I will be blocking you on everything and moving on from this nonsense. Any tweet you will make, any comment you will make, any DM you attempt, I will not give any attention to it, and quite frankly, you should just go and do the same. But I'm willing to bet you won't. You're going to do a shitty 5-minute space on Twitter and then a 40-minute schizo rant trying to everything you can to debunk me, showing how easily your story falls apart, all with loosely cherry-picked screenshots. Go ahead and bring every single person you've ever talked with on a video. I don't care, and it will change nothing. This video might even be pointless since you don't have any basic comprehension skills to claim that you have. This all could have been settled at the start of the year if you simply just left us alone. If you never made that video, we wouldn't be here. If you actually sat down and listened to us, we wouldn't be here. All of the stress you have created was but nothing from yourself. You put yourself in your own personal hell and then blame everyone else for it when we tried helping and being nice to you. Your biggest threat is nobody but yourself. The fact you have the gall to say that we've been the ones harassing you when all we have said so many times for you to just move on and leave us alone, but you will never help yourself. Just like how you got so deep into your bad habits, it almost led to you being behind bars. You got let off the hook. And the only thing that makes you think you're the bigger person is because you felt guilty about it. The dog that weeps after it kills is no better than the dog that doesn't. Your guilt does not purify your actions. You never changed about anything because you won't leave us alone. You don't feel different about it because it's someone you don't like and not someone who was around your family who cared about you. You are not a victim. You never were. You are the abuser. You are the reason people who associate with you in the past are going to check twice at their profile views, hoping it isn't who they think they are. You are the reason why people lose sleep at night, because you have to be the annoying mosquito in the dark to them. It's not your mental illness that makes you do these things, and quite frankly, I find it fucking disgusting you resort to tormenting the well-being of others because of your thoughts. I'm the only one willing to stoop down to your level because no one has the goal to say it, because this is how you would react. You are never the victim. You are an abuser drowning in a guilt and victim complex. As an agnostic, I pray to whatever higher being that exists to make me and my friends never have to interact or deal with you ever again. If you even do try, I will keep building up these screenshots until I enough to hopefully do this the legal way. If you want to keep attempting to contact us, then fuck around and find out. There's only one way for this to end, and none of us want to even have any communication with you either. My terms are this. You are going to take down any video you've made on us, and you are going to delete the files report account. Not privated, not deactivated, deleted, gone. You do that, I will take down this video, and you will not hear from me ever again. That is the only way I will take down this video. But if I ever see you talk about us to anyone publicly, or a slight mention of us, even if our names are not involved at all, if you even bring up this situation once, this video is going back on. And nothing will be there to take it down. And for the final thing, for the last final time, leave us alone. We don't want to talk to you. Never reach out to us ever again. And now, to you, my fellow viewers. Thank you to all the people who made it to the end of this video and to listen to my story and what I've been managing the past 6 months. Like I said multiple times in the video, all the screenshots in this video will be in a Google Drive available for the public. I don't plan on making any updates or responses to what Cedar says from this point, and hopefully I won't update the stock. But the only time I do is if I missed a couple things from an outsider's perspective. Unlike Cedar, you are willing to comment on this video and I will respond to it. Criticism is open and welcomed here, along with full accountability. It's a setting that this is my debut on YouTube, although I'm honestly hoping that after this, it will drive me to make more content, especially journalistic content and video essays. Again, I want to thank everyone who was able to sit down and watch this whole thing. I appreciate it a lot. And I want to give a special shout out to the friends that have been in the same boat as me. And let me show you how great these people really are that Cedar doesn't show. Dorkyverse. An incredibly talented, fantastic person who is very strong for what she's had to handle the past year and getting kicked out. It's a very hard thing, and I understand what it's like completely, and she deserves to be checked out. K2 Crafty, another incredibly talented artist who posts on YouTube and TikTok and got one to be one of the funniest people I've been around and I've known for over 5 years now at this point. BonnieFan69. This dude has literally been my best friend since middle school, and I would consider my brother. And with a massive following and incredible games in development, he is someone I 100% recommend to go check out, and I really recommend you to go check out Hello Neighbor Reborn. It is a phenomenal game. These are the people I couldn't thank more than enough, and I hope you all find the chance to check everyone out after what we've had to endure the past 6 months. I don't post on YouTube much, but I do post on TikTok time to time with my edits, and thank you all for watching. And I'm hoping to see you all more here. Have a good one.